This audiobook is a non-profit fan adaptation of the web novel Comprehension Ability, creating and teaching the Tao in various worlds. All credit goes to the original author. If you're the author and wish for this video to be removed or modified, please reach out at fableversodio@gmail.com. Comprehension Ability, creating and teaching the Tao in various worlds. Chapter 8. Flattening the Demon Saint's Nest. Please subscribe. Body Cultivation Void Layer. I've almost completely comprehended it. Lin Yuan thought to himself. As long as he wished, he could now step into refined void in the body cultivation lineage, becoming the first body cultivation ancient saint in the central divine continent in hundreds of thousands of years. However, Lin Yuan's expression fell into brief contemplation. Unlike returning to the 6th rank, the lineage of body cultivation was new to Lin Yuan. If he broke through to body cultivation refined void, it would be difficult to perfectly conceal his aura, as he did when returning to the 6th rank. Lin Yuan's return to the 6th rank emphasized return, having already traversed it once in the main world. Therefore, when he stepped into the 6th rank again in this immortal Tao world, as easy as eating and drinking, even the founding artifact of the sect, the Taihao Immortal Mirror, which monitored all aura in Divine Continent, did not detect Lin Yuan stepping into the 6th rank. But if he were to break through in the body cultivation lineage to refine void, Lin Yuan wasn't confident he could control his own aura, considering he had never walked this path before. I can't break through in cloud mist blessed land. Lin Yuan silently thought to himself. The Tao Immortal sect was nearby. This place was under the direct surveillance of the Taihao Immortal Mirror. Any slight anomaly in aura would attract the attention of the Taihao Immortal Mirror, consequently drawing the gaze of the immortal sect leader. For hundreds of thousands of years, why hadn't the Tao Immortal sect, Blood Demon Sea, Nether Palace, and Demon Saint's Nest dared to invade easily? It was because of the Taihao Immortal Mirror. This immortal founding artifact, when activated on its own, could cover central divine continent. If activated by an ancient saint, it could even form an immortal mirror incarnation and descend anywhere in this world. Of course, the farther the distance, the weaker the incarnation of the immortal mirror would be. Where to break through? In front of Lin Yuan, multiple screens of light appeared, showing a map of this world. Lin Yuan's gaze first fell on the area of the Eastern Sea Islands. After years of being presided over by Yang Spirit, White Jade Pavilion had already become the foremost among the 800 subsidiary sects and 3,000 left paths of the East Sea.
No.
Lin Yuan pondered for a moment and then gently shook his head. The East Sea was indeed under the influence of White Jade Pavilion, but it was also a key focus area for the Tao Immortal sect, Blood Demon Sea, and Ghost Palace of Netherworld. Especially as the influence of White Jade Pavilion had grown over the years, the Tao Immortal sect had particularly increased their scrutiny here. Choosing to break through in the East Sea was not a good idea, as the immortal mirror incarnation of the immortal sect master might descend at any time, making it unnecessary to take such a risk. Apart from the East Sea, Lin Yuan could only choose the north, south, or west. In fact, there was almost no difference between these three places. Although they were constantly ravaged and suppressed by the Tao Immortal sect, the greater the suppression, the safer it was, as it was darkest under the lamp. Let's choose the west. Lin Yuan made up his mind. To the west was the domain of the barbaric demon beasts. The Demon Saint's Nest was the holy land of the barbaric demon beasts, guarded by a demon saint whose power paralleled the ancient saint of refined void layer. And the barbaric demon saint nest was under the purview of Jun Wuji's father, Jun Dongjin, who was responsible for the suppression and sweeping of the area. Over the years, Lin Yuan had roughly figured out the deployment and routine of the immortal sect disciples suppressing the barbaric demon beasts. With this knowledge, Lin Yuan could definitely achieve his breakthrough unnoticed and undisturbed by external forces. Even if some breakthrough anomalies occurred during the process, they would be hard to detect for a while, and by the time they attracted the attention of other powerhouses, Lin Yuan would have already left. Having determined the location for his breakthrough, Lin Yuan walked out of the cultivation chamber. My lord! Chen Hua and Qiuyue greeted him warmly. Lin Yuan nodded. Several days later, Lin Yuan instructed Chunhua and Chiryue, I plan to go into closed-door cultivation soon. Turn away anyone looking for me, including big brother, second sister, father, and mother. Yes. Chunhua and Chiryue immediately responded. This was not the first time such an event had occurred. Ever since Jun Wuji moved into Cloud Mist Blessed Land decades ago, he had begun to cultivate frenziedly, spending most of the time in closed-door cultivation. And during this period, no one could disturb him. After instructing Chunhua and Chiryue, Lin Yuan once again entered the cultivation chamber. Time to leave. Lin Yuan stood inside the chamber, leaving behind a trail of his own scent. This scent could replace him, being sensed by the outside world's Chunhua and Chiryue. At the same time, if anyone broke into this cultivation chamber, no matter how far Lin Yuan was, as long as he was within this realm, he would be able to sense it. After completing all this, Lin Yuan silently left Cloud Mist Blessed Land. This was the second time Lin Yuan had left Cloud Mist Blessed Land since he moved in. The first time was during the grand ceremony of the immortal sect leader's grandfather in the Hollow Void. On the edge of Central Divine Continent, in an ordinary valley, at some point a figure appeared. This place is quite good. Lin Yuan looked at the valley and nodded slightly. This valley was not within the jurisdiction of Central Divine Continent, nor was it in the domain of the barbaric demon beasts, but was in a buffer zone between the two. Here, the Taihao Immortal Mirror of the Dowd Immortal Sect could not monitor on its own unless the Immortal Sect leader actively stimulated it, specifically sensing this location. But it was very unlikely for the Immortal Sect leader to do so without any reason. The reason why the Immortal Sect leader had previously activated the Taihao Immortal Mirror and descended into the East Sea was because Lin Yuan had interfered with the Black Gauze Archipelago and disrupted the sect's arrangements. This is it. Lin Yuan arrived at the valley and sat cross-legged in a cave. Sigh. An ethereal figure walked out from inside Lin Yuan. It was the Yin spirit. This breakthrough was a physical one, so the Yin spirit and Yang spirit were free to protect Lin Yuan. Since Lin Yuan had broken through to the 6th rank, the power of the Yin spirit and Yang spirit had also risen significantly. Even though they were slightly weaker than their original form, they still possessed the combat power of an ancient saint of refined void layer. With an ancient saint protecting his cultivation, Lin Yuan's breakthrough, especially in such a buffer zone, wouldn't matter. He would have ample time to handle any situation that arose. All credit goes to the original author. Enjoyed this story? Subscribe for daily uploads and more amazing content. Have a novel you want us to cover? Leave your requests in the comments. If you are the author and wish for this video to be removed or modified, please contact us at fableversodio@gmail.com. Comprehension Ability, Creating and Teaching the Tao in Various Worlds. Chapter 8. Flattening the Demon Saint's Nest. Please subscribe. _2. Even if we retreat 10,000 steps. During the breakthrough, the immortal sect leader, holding the founding artifact of the sect, might come to kill. The Yin spirit can also take Lin Yuan's true self away. It's merely a matter of failing the breakthrough. For Lin Yuan, there are plenty of ways to compensate. It's not considered a significant loss. Begin. Lin Yuan closed his eyes. Inside his body, the vast vital blood slowly began to boil. East Sea, Bayou Island. At the moment Lin Yuan was breaking through, the Yang spirit opened his eyes, looking in the direction where Lin Yuan was. I hope nothing goes wrong. Lin Yuan thought to himself, yet he ceased his seclusion, constantly paying attention to any disturbance during Lin Yuan's breakthrough. If some extreme situation did occur, one where an ancient saint-level powerhouse came to kill, the Yang spirit avatar could rapidly disperse at a crucial moment, then reconvene within the Yin spirit's body. In other words, appearing beside Lin Yuan out of thin air, covering an infinite distance. The Yang God and Yin God are inherently two sides of the same entity. After the Yang God disperses, the Yin spirit, at great cost, can quickly give birth to the power of Taiyang and, in turn, form the Yang God. When the Yin spirit and Yang spirit merge, They transform into the Taiji primordial spirit, whose combat power is by no means weaker than Lin Yuan's true self. Of course, such a technique would cause certain wear and tear on the yang spirit and yin spirit, but as long as it ensures the smooth breakthrough of the true self, it is worth some sacrifice. On the other side of the tense buffer zone between Central Divine Continent and the barbaric demon beast forces, Jun Xiaoyao and Jun Jilan stood in the void, commanding a large number of immortal sect disciples, slaughtering the barbaric demon beasts. It was at this time Jun Xiaoyao's expression changed slightly. He reached out for a disc-shaped magical artifact. At this moment, its needle was trembling incessantly. This disc artifact was named Demon Sensing Disc. It could sense the movements, numbers, and strengths of demonic beasts within tens of thousands of miles. And just at that moment, the Demon Sensing Disc was vibrating continuously. It must be the esteemed firstborn prince from the demon saint's nest who has awakened. Jun Xiaoyao said solemnly. The firstborn prince? Jun Jilan's expression darkened. The demon saint's nest is a holy land for the barbaric demon beasts, where demon saints on par with ancient saints lie dormant. If not for the demon saint's nest, the barbaric demon beasts would have long been annihilated by the Dao Immortal sect. How could they still exist until now? And the firstborn prince is the premier progeny of that demon saint within the nest. The strength of the firstborn prince could be said to be the strongest below the ancient saints, and with his demon saint bloodline, could even burst forth with true ancient saint-level combat power for a short period. If that's the case, have all disciples temporarily retreat to the divine continent.
Yun Shilen commented.
The barbaric demon beast's firstborn prince was too terrifying. The Dao Immortal sect indeed had the means to counter him, but there was no need. The firstborn prince had a special bloodline, spending most of his time in slumber, only occasionally waking up to wander around. It can be said that as long as the Dao Immortal sect avoids the time when the firstborn prince is awake, they need not face such a terrifying opponent. Very well.
Yun Xiaoyao nodded.
He immediately issued the order. Countless Dao Immortal sect disciples, who were slaughtering demonic beasts, stopped promptly and headed back to the boundaries of Central Divine Continent. Meanwhile, deep in the barbarian wilderness, a terrifying presence was stirring back to life. Countless demonic beasts, whether great demons or demon kings, were all trembling in fear, lying prostrate on the ground, daring not to move.
Boom, boom, boom.
A 1,000-zhang tall figure could be seen slowly approaching, with each step causing the earth to quake and the old aura of the barbarian wilderness hitting one's face. Upon closer inspection, this 1,000-zhang tall figure was, astonishingly, a giant ape. What exactly is the concept of 1,000-zhang? Converted into meters, that's 3,000 to 4,000 meters, majestic and towering. Finally awake again. Mother really insists on making me practice that kind of demonic technique. Out of 100 years, I have to sleep for 90. The 1,000-zhang giant ape strode along, paying no mind to the countless demonic beasts it trampled to death. For it, those beasts were no different from ants. Who would care about stepping on a few ants? What fresh air! It's a pity I can only enjoy it for 10 years. The 1,000-zhang giant ape sighed. In 10 years, it would have to continue its slumber until it woke up again 100 years later. Boom, boom, boom. The 1,000-zhang giant ape continued on its way. It quickly left the area of the barbarian wilderness and arrived at the border region facing the Central Divine Continent. Humph. Those disciples of the Immortal sect are quite clever, all having run off without a trace. The 1,000-zhang giant ape glanced in the direction of the Central Divine Continent, not intending to invade. Although it had slept for nearly 100 years, the giant ape's mind was somewhat slow to react, but it wasn't dumb. Entering the Central Divine Continent would be akin to exposing itself under the Taihao Immortal Mirror, constantly vulnerable to an attack from the Immortal sect leader from afar. I'll just stroll around here. The 1,000-zhang giant ape decided to limber up its limbs. Just then, the giant ape seemed to sense something and sniffed with its nose. This aura. The eyes of the 1,000-zhang giant ape lit up, It faintly sensed a vast amount of nature's spiritual energy converging towards a certain location. Is it the appearance of a heaven and earth spirit root? Or is it the ripening of a great herb of this world? The giant ape's huge mouth cracked open. Mine, it's all mine. The thousand-zhong giant ape immediately strode towards the direction it had sensed. In a valley, Lin Yuan opened his eyes. Virtual body refinement. Feeling the huge surge of vital energy within his body, Lin Yuan's spirits were lifted. Physical body, divine ability. Lin Yuan could already feel that deep within his bloodlines, a certain aura had been nurtured to completion, ready to take form at any moment. Just as Lin Yuan was about to check exactly which physical body divine ability it was, suddenly, a thunderous rumbling came from the earth. The next moment, Lin Yuan left the cave. He came up to the top of the valley. What's that? Lin Yuan looked off into the distance. All credit goes to the original author. Enjoyed this story? Subscribe for daily uploads and more amazing content. Have a novel you want us to cover? Leave your requests in the comments. If you are the author and wish for this video to be removed or modified, please contact us at fableversodio@gmail.com. Comprehension Ability. Creating and teaching the Tao in various worlds. Chapter 8. Flattening the Demon Saint's Nest. Please subscribe. _3. A giant ape, 1,000 zhong tall, was madly rushing in this direction. The great prince of the Demon Saint's Nest. Lin Yuan immediately recognized the other party. After all, this demon was extremely famous, known to be a match for the ancient saint of refinement void, and when it burst forth, it even possessed combat power at the level of an ancient saint.
Boom, boom, boom.
The thousand-zhong giant ape took huge strides forward. Where is my heaven and earth spirit root? Where is my great medicine of this world? The thousand-zhong giant ape stopped in its tracks, looking around. With its enormous size, it paid no attention to the valley beneath its feet. To the giant ape, what they called a valley was nothing but a small mound. Huh! Did you steal my heaven and earth spirit root and the great medicine of this world? The thousand-zhong giant ape scrutinized carefully and soon spotted a figure as tiny as a speck of dust. In the distance, several demonic beasts cautiously observed the thousand-zhong giant ape. The great prince seems to be in a good mood, a wolf demon muttered under its breath. He too was a demon king of the Mahayana phase, but in front of the thousand-zhong giant ape, he was no different from those great demons of the nascent soul stage. Some of the human race didn't leave. A demon king next to him seemed to have discovered something and looked towards the minute human figure on top of the valley beneath the giant ape's feet. He probably didn't notice. Too bad, he's going to die under the great prince's feet. The third demon king said quietly, his tone revealing schadenfreude. On his way here, the great prince had crushed countless demonic beasts. Now, stepping on a human, they only felt much more balanced. This human, facing the great prince, is still not running. He might have some strength. Another demon king couldn't help but say, "Humph. What can a bit of strength do?" In front of the great prince, if you're not an ancient saint, you're all just ants. The wolf demon that started the conversation sneered. The great prince of the demon saint's nest represented the strongest combat power just below the demon saint. That's true. The other demonic beasts nodded one after another. There is no spirit root or great medicine here. Lin Yuan stood at the top of the valley and said calmly, "Liar. I clearly felt the aura of the spirit root and great medicine. Was it you who stole my spirit root and great medicine?" The thousand-zhong giant ape flew into a rage. Its voice buzzed, rolling like thunder. Die. Following that, the thousand-zhong giant ape lifted its right foot and stomped towards Lin Yuan and the valley, intent on crushing them into dust. In the distance, several demonic beasts, witnessing this, looked at Lin Yuan as if they were looking at a dead man. More accurately, none of the demonic beasts' gazes lingered on Lin Yuan, for in the next moment, he would die under the great prince's foot. The great prince's stomp leverages the power of heaven and earth, touches upon the mysteries of space, and even if one had the fastest speed, they couldn't dodge, only endure. Endure the stomp of the great prince? That's not something a human divinity transformation stage heaven lord could do. Only an ancient saint's intervention or life-saving measures of an ancient saint's level such as talismans or magical treasures could save one. Otherwise, death is certain. The demonic beasts quickly discussed. Their gazes were also observing the great prince's stomp, seeking to learn something from it. However, in the next moment, all the demonic beasts froze. They saw the towering 1,000-zhong giant ape suddenly stumble and, unable to help itself, retreat several steps, shaking the ground, opening several enormous fissures. In the next instant, the 1,000-zhong giant ape was stomped into the ground by someone. Under their incredulous gazes, Lin Yuan, who initially seemed as tiny as a speck of dust, now appeared as a towering giant, stomping the 1,000-zhong giant ape directly underfoot. Another stomp, pinning the trying to resist giant ape further into the ground. One more stomp, causing the giant ape to spit out a mouthful of fresh blood as the sound of its bones cracking echoed. It lay bloodied and on the brink of death. If it were before. But Lin Yuan looked down at the giant ape, as if looking at an insignificant ant, and said calmly, "I have already been to the depths of the barbarian wilderness and have flattened the demon saint's nest." All credit goes to the original author. Enjoyed this story? Subscribe for daily uploads and more amazing content. Have a novel you want us to cover? Leave your requests in the comments. If you are the author and wish for this video to be removed or modified, please contact us at fableversodio@gmail.com. Comprehension Ability. Creating and teaching the Tao in various worlds. Chapter 9. Physical Body Divine Ability. Mu Qingliu's Decision. Please subscribe. The 1,000-yard giant ape was strong. This strength was not limited to its physical body. It was more about the mastery of space and other mysterious rules. If someone thought that the 1,000-yard giant ape was just a dumb giant, they were greatly mistaken. He could clash head-on with an ancient saint, the great prince of the barbaric demon beast clan. How could it rely solely on brute force? Unfortunately, the 1,000-yard giant ape encountered Lin Yuan. With the strength of the 1,000-yard giant ape, even if it truly confronted an ancient saint, it had the ability to save its own life. After all, the demon saint's nest was not far away. If the 1,000-yard giant ape could hold out for a while, the demon saint from the demon saint's nest would come to its aid. However, in front of Lin Yuan, who had already stepped into the body cultivation void, the 1,000-yard giant ape did not even last a breath before Lin Yuan trampled it to the brink of death with severe injuries. This was the power of the body cultivation void. In the central divine continent, this was an unprecedented power of the body cultivation line. After stepping into the body cultivation void, Lin Yuan faintly felt that with a single punch or kick, he could suppress the surroundings. One force overcomes all laws. This referred to the body cultivation. Since it's almost dead, might as well. Lin Yuan looked down at the 1,000-yard giant ape, spitting out blood, and suddenly made up his mind. In the distance, several demonic beasts, watching in silence, fell absolutely quiet, their gaze frozen. What did they see? Their great prince, in front of that seemingly insignificant member of the human race, had no power to fight back. That was the great prince, capable of contending with an ancient saint. How could he be in such a state in front of Lin Yuan? The demonic beasts looked at one another. They instinctively felt, was their great prince too weak? However, in an instant, these demonic beasts realized, how could the great prince be weak? Throughout his journey, the great prince was famously fierce. They knew it by heart. Since it was not the great prince that was weak, then it must be that the human was too strong. Strong enough that even the great prince had no ability to resist. Who exactly is this ancient saint? Aren't they afraid of causing chaos across the world? The hearts of these demonic beasts trembled. If this insignificant human could incapacitate the great prince with just a few kicks, then it meant this person was undoubtedly at the level of an ancient saint. Currently, Daoist immortal sect rules the Central Earth, Ghost Palace of Netherworld, Blood Demon Sea, and Demon Saints Nest each occupy the south, north, and west of the Divine Continent, respectively. But these four major forces abide by an unwritten rule. That is, unless absolutely necessary, the ancient saints at the refined void level need not take action. Even over a decade ago, when Dao's immortal sex arrangement in the East Sea's Black Gauze archipelago was destroyed, only an incarnation of the mirror descended from the sect master of Dao's immortal sect, while the original body still sat in power on Mount Morality Immortal. Look, that person, what is he doing? The demonic beasts had scattered thoughts, their pupils suddenly constricting. Because they saw that tiny human race being, heading towards the 1,000-feet-tall ape, opened its mouth to inhale. In an instant, the previously gasping 1,000-feet-tall ape saw its inner vitality and blood energy crazily draining away. In less than a moment, it turned into a skeleton. Not bad, not bad. Almost equivalent to several dozen near 6th-rank great medicines. A smile emerged on Lin Yuan's face. He had just broken through to the body cultivation void, and although his combat power had surged, his body was weak due to the breakthrough. This 1,000-feet-tall ape came at just the right time, directly serving as the nourishment for Lin Yuan to compensate for his weakness. Just then, accompanied by the complete fall of the 1,000-feet-tall ape, deep within the barbarian wilderness, a tremendous aura began to awaken. That demon saint? Lin Yuan glanced over. It was no secret that a demon saint was stationed at the barbaric demon saint nest. However, this demon saint was mostly in a slumbering state. Let's go. Lin Yuan had no intention of engaging with that demon saint. It wasn't that Lin Yuan couldn't handle the demon saint, but it was simply pointless. Lin Yuan, not yet at the strength to dominate the world, saw retaining the demon saint to restrain the Dao's immortal sect as beneficial, with no need to devastate them entirely. A moment later, a terrifying divine sense descended, transforming into an even more majestic and towering giant ape phantom. Who exactly is it? The giant ape phantom let out a deep roar, looking at the corpse of the prince, raging intensely inside. It had held great expectations for the prince, and if everything had gone smoothly, the prince only needed another 5,000 years to reach the refining void ancient saint lair. At that time, the barbaric demon saint nest would possess 2 demon saints, possibly even tamper with the central divine continent.
But now,
the prince was dead. All its elaborate plans were shattered. In the short run, among the countless demonic beasts of the barbarian wilderness, not one possessed the potential to ascend to demon saint. The giant ape phantom's gaze shifted towards the distant, trembling demonic beasts. Immediately, it raised its right hand, and those few demonic beasts appeared before it. Soul search. The giant ape phantom's mind slightly stirred. The scenes the several demonic beasts had just witnessed became vividly clear before it. Such strength? Seeing Lin Yuan effortlessly kill the prince with several stomps, the giant ape phantom's expression subtly changed. Involving no intricate rules, merely physical strength, such methods originate from the human race's body cultivation. Could this person possibly be a body cultivator in the refining void period? The giant ape phantom muttered to itself. Body cultivators are inherently proficient in physical combat. Their combat power in the same layer is considered extremely strong. However, for various reasons, they have only been a subsidiary to the immortal path.
Dao's immortal sect.
They nurtured a body cultivator in the refining layer? The giant ape phantom looked displeased. No matter how one puts it, body cultivators are still a part of the immortal path. Now that a refined void body cultivator has emerged, it could only attribute it to the Dao's immortal sect. All credit goes to the original author. Enjoyed this story? Subscribe for daily uploads and more amazing content. Have a novel you want us to cover? Leave your requests in the comments. If you're the author and wish for this video to be removed or modified, please contact us at fableversodio@gmail.com. Comprehension Ability. Creating and teaching the Dao in various worlds. Chapter 9 Physical Body Divine Ability. Mu Qinliu's Decision. Please subscribe. _2. Half a day later. A beam of mirror light crossed infinite distances. It descended upon the buffer zone between Central Divine Continent and the barbarian wilderness. The offspring of the demon saint is dead?
Taoist immortal sect master Mu Qinglu frowned.
Sect master, at that time? Jun Xiaorao immediately began to explain. Upon sensing that the great prince of the barbaric demon beasts was about to awaken, Jun Xiaorao had all the disciples of the numerous immortal sects retreat to the Central Divine Continent for the time being. In addition, Jun Xiaorao also spied on the movements of the thousand-zhong giant ape from a distance through a secret technique. What he discovered was a terribly shocking scene. A great prince standing 1,000 zhong tall was actually trampled to death by the tiny figure after just a few stomps. Jun Xiaorao did not see the appearance of that tiny figure, for this person's vitality surged around him, repelling all spells and divine skills. Let me see. The Taoist immortal sect master Mu Qinglu arrived at the scene, and then, with the aid of the light of the Taihao immortal mirror, began to trace back. This was the capability of the Taihao immortal mirror, which could forcibly trace back to a specific period in a region's past. Of course, the traced back scenes could not involve levels of refined void. Ancient saints were already influencing the surrounding heaven and earth, the natural nemesis of such tracing back techniques. Buzz. The scene shifted. The next instant, the scene was filled with boundless vitality. Indeed, it is an ancient saint and furthermore, a body cultivation ancient saint. Taoist immortal sect master Mu Qinglu stayed silent, although the scene did not specifically trace back to anything, but based on Jun Xiaoyao's explanation and the residue aura at the scene, he was already able to deduce many things. A body cultivation ancient saint? Since when did my Central Divine Continent birth such a powerful being? Mu Qinglu thought, frowning. He was unaware whether this body cultivation ancient saint was a friend or a foe to his Taoist immortal sect. But beyond doubt, a body cultivation ancient saint skilled in offensive capabilities could completely alter the balance of power among the current 4 major forces, if he wished to. In the north of Divine Continent, Blood Demon Sea, the ruler of the Blood Demons sat cross-legged on a small island deep within the Blood Demon Sea. Although he was also an ancient saint of refinement void, he had merged with the Blood Demon Sea, thus possessing an ability close to immortality. However, he also gave up his freedom as his true body could not leave the Blood Demon Sea's range. Of course, if willing to pay the price, the ruler of the Blood Demons could also enter the Central Divine Continent. That would be by driving the Blood Demon Sea to start expanding. As long as the Blood Demon Sea was vast enough to cover the entire world, the restriction that the ruler of the Blood Demons could not leave the Blood Demon Sea would make no difference. Huh. News from the Demon Saint. The ruler of the Blood Demons raised his eyebrows. In order to jointly resist the Taoist immortal sect, the Demon Saint's nest, the Blood Demon Sea, and the Ghost Palace of Netherworld had always shared intelligence. The enemy of an enemy is a friend. The Taoist immortal sect was too powerful. If they did not join forces, they would only face defeat more quickly. A body cultivation ancient saint has appeared? The ruler of the Blood Demons appeared grave. The limit of the lineage of body cultivation was the divinity transformation stage, which is why it was a vassal to the immortal path, and many cultivators always treated body cultivation techniques as a means to strengthen the body and improve health. Even so, if not relying on external objects, at the same level, a body cultivator was seldom much weaker than a cultivator of the same level. In some aspects, they might even be stronger, especially from the divinity transformation stage of the body cultivation lineage. There was an extremely low chance to conceive physical body divine abilities. Body cultivators in the divinity transformation stage had a chance to master physical body divine abilities. Theoretically, body cultivators in the refining void period had an even higher chance of mastering physical body divine abilities. Where did this body cultivation ancient saint come from? Is he the backup of the Taoist immortal sect? The ruler of the Blood Demons desperately wanted to know the identity of this body cultivation ancient saint. If this body cultivation ancient saint really came from the Taoist immortal sect, In the next thousands of years, the Blood Demon Sea, the Demon Saint's Nest, and the Ghost Palace of Netherworld wouldn't be able to turn the tide and would only be able to hide in their own territories, barely clinging to survival. In the south of Divine Continent, Ghost Palace of Netherworld, a body cultivation ancient saint? The gaunt man sitting on the throne had a bit of a headache. Over the past few decades, too many changes had occurred in the world. First, a Master Yuan Yang from the East Sea emerged, possessing the strength of a half-step refinement void ancient saint. And now, another body cultivation ancient saint had appeared. As the king of ghost cultivators, how could the gaunt man not know how powerful a body cultivation ancient saint was? Where are all these people coming from? The gaunt man rubbed his brow. Let's not mention that Master Yuan Yang from the East Sea for now. With half-step refined void strength, he might be some ascetic master, hiding his prowess. But a body cultivation ancient saint? Has such a thing ever emerged throughout history? Shouldn't there be some sort of omen? Like the emergence of a group of body cultivators at the divinity transformation stage first. Then from this group, a body cultivation ancient saint would be born. Only then would it make sense as a gradual progression. Still, I need to investigate this. As to what stance this refinement void ancient saint truly holds. The gaunt man did not believe that this body cultivation ancient saint came from the Dowd immortal sect. If the latter, known for its domineering style, had actually born a body cultivation ancient saint, they would have announced it impatiently by now. How could there be no news about it until now? Cloud mist blessed land. Lin Yuan appeared silently in the cultivation chamber. No one has noticed. Lin Yuan glanced at the situation in the cloud mist blessed land after leaving for over 10 days. Everything was normal. No one else had come to visit, and Chen Hua and Qu Yue had been dutifully standing guard outside. Physical body, divine ability. Lin Yuan let out a light breath. He faintly felt the pulsation deep within his bloodline, almost fully formed, ready to break out of its shell at any moment. Exactly what kind of physical body divine ability is it? Lin Yuan looked forward with anticipation, quietly waiting. After half a day, the physical body divine ability completely took shape. In an instant, a deluge of information about physical body divine ability flooded into Lin Yuan's mind. Physical body divine ability, blood rebirth? Lin Yuan's eyes shone brightly. This divine ability could be called omnipotent. Whether it was for saving his own life or for fighting, it had great utility. According to the introduction of this divine ability, as long as Lin Yuan's physical body had not completely turned into nothingness, and there was at least a drop of his blood remaining, he could quickly be reborn. That was truly terrifying. For someone like Lin Yuan, who possessed a martial Tao primordial spirit and was an evolver, even if his physical body collapsed. From the brief exchange they just had, Mu Qinglu inferred that the strength of the formidable individual before him was at least at the peak of the hollow void realm. Though his true self hadn't descended, the area was still within the bounds of the central divine continent, enveloped by the might of the Taihao immortal mirror. The avatar descended by the mirror's light would require, at the very least, a cultivator of the refinement void Dongshu layer to withstand. And the fact that Lin Yuan could so effortlessly block that strike indicated that he possessed, at a minimum, the combat power of someone at the peak of the hollow void realm. Who exactly are you? Mu Qinglu scrutinized Lin Yuan, noting the similarity between his aura and that of the ghost cultivator king from the ghost palace of Netherworld. Both were of the power of Taiying. However, Mu Qinglu keenly sensed a difference. Compared to the ghost cultivator king, the aura emanating from Lin Yuan was much purer, almost as though he was an incarnation of the infinite power of Taiying itself. Who I am is not important. What's interesting is the overt and covert struggles within your immortal sect. Lin Yuan glanced at the trembling Mahayana phase heaven lords below and the jade carriage artifact that had stopped in the distance. Overt and covert struggles?
Mu Qinglu internally sighed.
The moment he descended, after sensing the presence of the symbol talisman of the ethereal refinement stage, he had already figured out most of the situation. Mu Qinglu could never have imagined that Mu Mengting had such a small-mindedness. Even though he had sent Jun Dongjin's family to the remote vast cliff mountain, far from the immortal sect's power core, Mu Mengting still harbored such wariness toward Jun Dongjin, daring to strike en route. This is an internal matter of the immortal sect, which should be irrelevant to you, Mu Qinglu said with a composed expression. In truth, he had been keeping tabs on Jun Dongjin's whereabouts all along. Even if Lin Yuan hadn't intervened, the very instant those Mahayana heavenly monarchs activated the symbol talisman of the ethereal refinement stage, he would have been alerted. For Mu Qinglu, his concern rested with the overall direction of the Daoed immortal sect. Jun Dongjin possessed a talent rarely seen, and even if he couldn't become the sect master, he was someone that could be of significant use and absolutely must not die. In fact, whether one becomes the sect master of the immortal sect is not of utmost importance. As long as one can step into the refined void stage and wield the founding artifact of the sect, one would be invincible in this world. As for the ultimate stages within the refining void period, entering void, hollow void, or refined void, there isn't any fundamental difference. This was also the reason why, despite knowing that Jun Dongjin had higher potential than Mu Mengting, the latter was still chosen. Mu Mengting was also born with a heavenly spiritual root, and with many foundations within the immortal sect like the 9 heavens glazed water and other treasures, there shouldn't be any problem breaking through to the refining void stage. To put it simply, the advantage of talent held by Jun Dongjin was not indispensable. But the advantage that Mu Mengting had, which stemmed from being part of the Mu family, was something Jun Dongjin lacked. If this generation of the Mu family did not have a talented disciple like Mu Mengting, Mu Qinglu, for the future of the immortal sect, would definitely choose to cultivate Jun Dongjin as the next sect master. Daring to meddle in the affairs of my immortal sect, I'd like to see on what grounds you do so. Mu Qinglu raised his right hand, and an illusory image of a mirror appeared. It was the projection of the Taihao immortal mirror, the founding artifact of the sect. Mu Qingluo's true body, together with the genuine Taihao immortal mirror, resided at Mount Morality Immortal and were not to emerge lightly. However, the avatar reflected by the mirror light and the mirror's projection could descend to any place in this world. Especially within the range of the central divine continent, it could retain the power of the refinement void stage.
Boom.
In an instant, Mu Qinglu struck once more. To the 9 heavens. Lin Yuan's form vanished, and when he reappeared, he had already traversed tens of thousands of meters to reach the high heavens. Ancient saints of this realm who engage in battle typically take the 9 heavens as their battleground. The space here is more vast, allowing ancient saints to unleash their full power. In the north of the divine continent, the blood demon sea stirred, its blood-red waters rippling gently. On a secluded island deep within, the master of the blood demon's expression subtly changed. Ancient saints clashing in the 9 heavens? The blood demon master looked up, gazing toward a certain direction. A casual blow from an ancient saint can shake the heavens and the earth, let alone a battle between two such beings. Such fluctuations in aura, while perhaps imperceptible to lower-level cultivators, would be unmistakably clear to anyone in the refining void stage, with no detail overlooked. Is it that old fellow Mu Qinglu? It should only be his mirror incarnation, but since the location is within the central divine continent, even if it's just a mirror incarnation, it still possesses the combat power of the peak of the hollow void realm. Which ancient saint would dare to make a move here against Mu Qinglu? The blood demon master was somewhat in disbelief. Normally, no ancient saint would willingly engage Mu Qinglu within the bounds of the central divine continent, because that wouldn't be a normal fight. Mu Qinglu, with the founding artifact of the sect in hand, is invincible in this world, and his combat and killing power surpass the limits of the refining void stage. As for the avatar created from the mirror's light, it might be weaker, but what would be the point in battling with an avatar? Having paid a huge price to win, Mu Qinglu only lost an avatar, which would recover in half an hour with the power of the founding artifact of the sect. If he had lost, Then he would have been chased and beaten by the mirror avatar, devoid of any dignity befitting an ancient saint. This aura, the power of Tying, is it that old Yin god? Wasn't the Yin god quite cowardly before? How come he has such courage this time? The blood demon prime god was surprised. Barbaric demon Saint Nest. The colossal ape demon saint also felt the fluctuations of an ancient saint-level battle. Rare indeed. That old Yin god, he actually made a move this time? The ape demon saint clicked his tongue in amazement. For beings like them, there wasn't much entertainment, but they would definitely pay attention to a battle at their level. South of Divine Continent. Ghost Palace of Netherworld. A gaunt man sat on the throne. Feeling the fluctuations of an ancient saint-level fight, he fell into contemplation. The gaunt man's eyebrows were tightly furrowed. The aura of the ancient saint battling with Mu Qinglu did indeed somewhat resemble his. But it was just that similar. Ghost cultivators wield the power of Tying, but they also encompass the Yuming death qi. However, that figure was entirely powered by the power of Tying, and its power of Tying was much purer, to the extent that even a refinement void layer ghost cultivator like the gaunt man couldn't compare. Who exactly is it? The gaunt man immediately contacted the blood demon prime god and the demon saint of the nest, clarifying that he hadn't battled with Mu Qinglu and inquiring about the identity of the battling ancient saint. Cloud Mist Blessed Land. Lin Yuan lay lazily on the top floor of a mountain loft. At the same time, he was paying attention to the movements of the Dowd Immortal Sect. Cloud Mist Blessed Land wasn't far from the Dowd Immortal Sect, only tens of thousands of miles away, and Lin Yuan's current perceptive abilities could easily cover that distance. Lin Yuan faintly sensed the shifting qi in the Dowd Immortal Sect. Mu Qinglu, holding the founding artifact of the sect, wanted to send the true body of the immortal artifact to the 9 heavens to thoroughly detain that mysterious Tying ancient saint. The consciousness synchronized. In the 9 heavens above, Lin Yuan's Yin god glanced in the direction of the Dowd Immortal Sect, repelled Mu Qinglu with one strike, his figure dispersed, turning into wisps of the power of Tying, vanishing between heaven and earth. Ran away. Mu Qinglu's expression was ugly. He had been thinking about joining with his true form to deliver a fatal blow to this mysterious ancient saint. The opponent had run away? Is it a coincidence, or... Mu Qinglu's expression was grave as he too disappeared from sight. The battle between Lin Yuan and Mu Qinglu had a significant impact on Central Divine Continent, as well as the Blood Demon Sea, Nether Palace, and Barbarian East Sea. This was an ancient saint-level battle, which might not occur even once in many years. Refining void ancient saints, there were only a few in the entire world, and under the suppression of the Dowd Immortal Sect, the ancient saints rarely took action. Not to mention that one of the participating ancient saints this time was Mu Qinglu, the sect master of the Dowd Immortal Sect.
East Sea.
Bayou Island. The numerous disciples of Bayou Island were also discussing the matter of the ancient saints' battle. Have you heard? In the 9 heavens above Central Divine Continent, there was a battle between ancient saints not long ago. Ancient saints? Refining void ancient saints? Good heavens, even such beings would engage in combat. It's unclear, but one of the refining void ancient saints involved in the battle is the sect master of the Dowd Immortal Sect, who has already stepped into the hollow void realm. I heard that the piece of 9 heavens where the 2 ancient saints fought, the gang winds tore apart, and the murderous intent belonging to the ancient saints hasn't dissipated even now. Ordinary Mahayana heavenly monarchs don't dare to get close. That's a refining void ancient saint. It's a good thing the battlefield was in the 9 heavens if it were in Central Divine Continent. Refining void ancient saints. I wonder when we'll get to see such powerhouses for ourselves. On Bayou Island, many disciples conversed in low voices during their rest, their tones filled with longing. At the core area of Bayou Island, Lin Yuan sat cross-legged. The conversations of the disciples on the island naturally couldn't escape his attention. Refining void ancient saints. Lin Yuan slowly stood up, walked outside, and casually sat on a huge rock, glancing in the direction of the Taoed immortal sect in Central Divine Continent, and smiled faintly. Merely so. All credit goes to the original author. Enjoyed this story? Subscribe for daily uploads and more amazing content. Have a novel you want us to cover? Leave your requests in the comments. If you are the author and wish for this video to be removed or modified, please contact us at fableversodio@gmail.com. Comprehension Ability. Creating and teaching the Tao in various worlds. Chapter 12 Junwuji. I know your big secret, 4,700 words. Please subscribe. It's just that founding artifact of the sect. Lin Yuan had a slightly grave expression. Up to now, Lin Yuan had encountered the Taihao immortal instruments twice. The first time was during the grand ceremony of the ethereal void, where Lin Yuan and his parents went to Mount Morality Immortal to congratulate Mu Qinglu. During that period, Lin Yuan's yang spirit had annihilated the forces of the Black Gauze Archipelago, causing the plans of the Taoed immortal sect to fail, which infuriated Mu Qinglu, who directly activated the Taihao immortal instrument and descended in incarnation upon the Eastern Sea Islands. The second time was not long ago when Lin Yuan, using his Yin God, battled with an incarnation of the mirror light for a while and felt the true power of the Taihao immortal mirror. Through these two encounters, Lin Yuan determined that the tier of Taihao immortal realm must surpass the refining void period. That is, above the refining void period, a treasure of the Unity Path stage. The Unity Path stage had already surpassed the limits of this world. Only in the legendary Spirit Realm did such mighty beings exist. Spirit Realm. Lin Yuan's expression sank into brief contemplation. There were rumors that the Taoed immortal sect holds the Ascension platform that leads from this world to the Spirit Realm. Successive immortal sect leaders, after managing the Taoed immortal sect for 10 to 20,000 years, would disappear without a trace, precisely through the Ascension platform, to the fabled Spirit Realm. Of course, such a claim had no basis, and probably only the immortal sect leader of the Taoed immortal sect knew the truth. Perhaps the refinement void ghost king of the ghost palace of Netherworld, the lord of the blood demon sea, and the demon saint of the demon saint's nest also knew something. It's irrelevant. With just another 200 years to cultivate to the peak of the 6th rank, or even break through to the 7th rank, no secrets would be secrets before me. Lin Yuan shook his head slightly. Now, he needed not pry into the secrets of the Spirit Realm or Ascension. There was no significance in doing so. It was better to focus all his time on cultivation. First to become invincible under the heavens, then see.
Taoed immortal sect. Sect master Mu Qinglu sat aloft.
Mu Mengting knelt below, his face pale and his expression filled with fear. He had never thought that after using the treasured symbol talisman of the ethereal refinement stage from the Mu family's collection, he still failed to kill Jun Dongjin. Not only had he failed to kill him, but the sect master noticed it immediately. Now, having expended an extremely precious symbol talisman of the ethereal refinement stage, and Jun Dongjin not being dead meant that he, Mu Mengting, was not the sole candidate for the succession of the immortal sect. Mu Qinglu had other options, such as reusing Jun Dongjin. If that were the case, it would mean that Mu Mengting was completely out of favor with the sect master. Do you know where you went wrong? Mu Qinglu looked at Mu Mengting, his eyes showing disappointment. He had not expected Mu Mengting to lack such resolution and utterly devoid of tolerance. Sect master, I should not have acted against a fellow sect member. I shouldn't have acted against Jun Dongjin. Mu Mengting immediately admitted his mistake. Since Mu Qinglu had called him aside alone and personally mentioned the matter, Mu Mengting realized that his antics could not have gone undetected. If that was the case, it was better to openly admit his wrongdoing. Perhaps there was still a chance for things to turn around. After all, his relationship with Mu Qinglu was far from being as simple as that of a sect master and a disciple. Incorrect. You erred in that you acted too soon. And too hastily. Mu Qinglu looked at Mu Mengting and spoke indifferently. When he took over as the leader of the immortal sect, he too had used some tactics, so Mu Mengting's preemptive actions to eliminate competitors were not uncommon. It was what Mu Qinglu had left over from his own strategies. However, such actions required restraint. With Jun Dongjin being transferred away from Mount Morality Immortal and distanced from the epicenter of power, his abilities being decent and his distinction between public and private affairs clear, it was far more useful to let him live than to have him dead. Mu Mengting looked baffled. He originally thought that the sect master would chastise his actions, but instead, it seemed that the sect master thought he had been too hasty. When you reach the refining void period, you will realize how laughable those former struggles were. Be it Jun Dongjin or anyone else, they are all pawns in your hands. Killing them is like weakening your own power, Mu Qinglu said calmly. This was also his greatest realization after stepping into the refining void period. From the perspective of an ancient saint, how ridiculous were some past actions. Having absolute power rendered everything subordinate. Mu Mengting's eyes widened. When Mu Qinglu mentioned, when you reach the refining void period, Mu Mengting trembled. What did the sect master mean? What was this about stepping into the refining void period? The order to transfer Dongjin to Vast Cliff Mountain. Could you not discern that I had already chosen you as the next sect master? Mu Qinglu said blandly. Sect master. Mu Qinglu was extremely agitated in his mind. Indeed. When Jun Dongjin received the transfer order, he had indeed thought that Jun Dongjin had been eliminated from the list of candidates for sect master. But Mu Mengting could only speculate, never sure whether his thoughts were true or false. What if Jun Dongjin was only being sent away for a while and came back soon?
Thus,
for the sake of certainty, Mu Mengting decided to take a risky move. From his high seat, Mu Qinglu looked at Mu Mengting, whose emotions were overflowing, and sighed internally again. Mu Mengting really was not as good as Jun Dongjin. But who could blame Mu Mengting for being his offspring? Actually, with the centuries-old foundation of the Daoed Immortal Sect, it made little difference who became the sect master. Even if Jun Dongjin became the sect master, he wouldn't be able to flatten the Blood Demon Sea, Nether Palace, or Demon Saint's Nest. Even if Mu Mengting was somewhat inferior, becoming the sect master wouldn't mean a significant reduction in the Daoed Immortal Sect's power. The strong foundation of the Daoed Immortal Sect persisted. Even if a pig became the sect master, as long as he possessed the cultivation of the refining void period and held the Taihao Immortal Mirror, he could still slaughter widely. All credit goes to the original author. Enjoyed this story? Subscribe for daily uploads and more amazing content. Have a novel you want us to cover? Leave your requests in the comments. If you are the author and wish for this video to be removed or modified, please contact us at fableversodio@gmail.com. Comprehension Ability. Creating and teaching the Tao in various worlds. Chapter 12 Junwuji, I know your big secret, 4,700 words. Please subscribe, _2. In this world, the Daoed Immortal Sect is a major force. Do you still want to kill Jun Dongjin? Mu Qinglu glanced at Mu Mengting and asked.
No.
Sect Master, I can swear that I will not lay a hand on Jun Dongjin. Mu Mengting said, without hesitation. As long as he could become an ancient saint of refined void and become the leader of the Immortal Sect. What would Jun Dongjin count for then? At this moment, Mu Mengting had vaguely understood the mentality that Mu Qinglu had mentioned. Even Jun Dongjin, whom he once regarded as a major threat, would eventually serve him and guard the great business of the Immortal Sect for him. In such a situation, Mu Mengting would rather see more talents like Jun Dongjin emerge. Why kill them? Wuji is Jun Dongjin's younger son, lacking the spirit root, and seldom leaves the cloud mist-blessed land, posing no threat to you. Mu Qinglu once again spoke. Sect Master. You underestimate me too much. How could I, Mu Mengting, lay a hand on Wuji? Mu Mengting said immediately, with a serious expression. And that was indeed the truth. Over the years,
Mu Mengting had regarded Jun Dongjin, even Mu Liena, Yun Xiaoyou, and Yun Xilan, as threats.
He was wary even of the younger generation. But he had never regarded Wuji as a threat. A cripple without even a spirit root. What is there to be wary of? That's why Mu Mengting had never made any moves against Cloud Mist Blessed Land. Because it simply wasn't necessary. That's good then. Wuji is also pitiful.
Mucinglunadet.
After all, he was Wuji's maternal grandfather. Knowing that Wuji had no spirit root since childhood, although no one dared to bully him, he was extremely sensitive inside. Otherwise, why would a normal person hide in the cloud mist-blessed land and hardly ever come out in decades? As long as Wuji is there, the cloud mist-blessed land is his, and no one can touch it. Upon hearing the implications from Mu Qinglu, Mu Mengting immediately assured. Since that is so. Mu Qinglu nodded slightly. Come with me, I will show you the biggest secret of our Daoed immortal sect. The buffer zone between the barbarian wilderness and Central Earth, that mysterious refined void body cultivator. And recently, that mysterious ancient saint who emanated the power of Tyene and whose power was at the hollow void peak. These two seemingly out-of-nowhere ancient saints of refined void added another layer of pressure on Mu Qingliu's heart. The pressure here. It's not about the Daoed immortal sect facing the risk of collapse or anything of that sort. But rather, he was worried that these ancient saints, together with those 3 old fellows, might stir up another great war in the central divine continent. Indeed, no matter the scale of the Great War, it would not affect the rule of the Daoed immortal sect. Relying on Mount Morality Immortal and the Taihao Immortal Mirror, the sect was as solid as a rock. But it was annoying. Just as if there were originally only 3 flies flying around, and now a few more appeared. And battles at the ancient saint level could easily fracture the central divine continent, which the Daoed immortal sect had long considered as their own dominion. Therefore, the Daoed immortal sect must soon have a second ancient saint of refined void. 2 ancient saints of refined void, one stationed in Mount Morality Immortal, one holding the Taihao Immortal Realm, stepping out of the Immortal Mountain to sweep away any potential enemies. Vast Cliff Mountain.
Yun Dongin, Mu Liena, Yun Xiaoyao, and Yun Shilen were gathered in a cave dwelling.
We might not be able to return any time soon.
Yun Dongin sighed.
He had come to realize that the sect master's decision to transfer him away from Mount Morality Immortal was to pave the way for Mu Mengting. That is to say, the future leader of the Daoed immortal sect, the ancient saint, had already been decided. It would be Mu Mengting. The future of Jun Dongjin now needed to be determined by Mu Mengting. Father.
Mu Liane Luoket dejected.
Mu Qinglu had ultimately chosen someone from the Mu family to be the sect master. This decision was somewhat expected, for even beings as elevated as the ancient saint of refined void cannot be utterly impartial, having human emotions. Abandoning Jun Dongjin to choose Mu Mengting. It was not a strange occurrence. It's good that Wuji did not come with us to endure these hardships.
Yun Shilen spoke softly.
Cloud mist blessed land had the effect of extending life. Wuji did not possess a spirit root, and body cultivation did not substantially increase lifespan. So, staying in cloud mist blessed land, Wuji could easily live for a few hundred years. If he were to consume any life-extending elixirs, perhaps he could live for a millennium. But if he had left cloud mist blessed land and come to this vast cliff mountain with them, his lifespan would definitely be sharply reduced, dropping to that of an ordinary person. Time slowly passed. In the blink of an eye, 100 years had passed. Over these 100 years, the situation in Central Divine Continent gradually became unstable. Blood Demon Sea, Demon Saint's Nest, and Nether Palace conspired in secret, desiring to incite another great war in Central Divine Continent. The only disappointment for the Blood Demon Sea, Demon Saint's Nest, and Nether Palace was the 2 mysterious ancient saints who had once appeared. One was an ancient saint of body cultivation. The other was an ancient saint of the power of Tyene. They had not shown themselves again. If they could ally with these 2 ancient saints, their chances of inciting a great war in Central Divine Continent would greatly increase. Cloud Mist Blessed Land. Cultivation Chamber. Finally, Lin Yuan was seated cross-legged, a smile appearing on his face. Over 100 years, Lin Yuan, apart from routinely practicing enlightenment, had been attempting to thoroughly understand the essential nature of that physical body divine ability, blood rebirth. This physical body divine ability was extremely complex and involved many aspects, and even though Lin Yuan possessed against heaven's understanding, it had taken him 100 years to barely grasp it. With this, even if I return to the main world, I can use this divine skill? Lin Yuan's mind was pleased. Blood rebirth had miraculous effects for preserving life, and naturally, the more such methods, the better. It's just a pity that this divine skill cannot be widely disseminated. It will operate differently according to each individual's body constitution. I spent 100 years using my main world physical body as a template, and the blood rebirth techniques that I've comprehended can only be applied to the physical bodies in the main world. All credit goes to the original author. Enjoyed this story? Subscribe for daily uploads and more amazing content. Have a novel you want us to cover? Leave your requests in the comments. If you are the author and wish for this video to be removed or modified, please contact us at fableversodio@gmail.com. Comprehension Ability. Creating and teaching the Tao in various worlds. Chapter 12. Junwuji, I know your big secret, 4,700 words. Please subscribe. _3. Lin Yuan's expression held a tinge of regret. He had originally planned to sell this divine skill to the goddess of wisdom, but it now seemed unfeasible. Although Lin Yuan felt some disappointment, he quickly adjusted his mindset. The higher the level and the more powerful the divine gift, the greater its restrictions. In the main world universe Starry Sky, some special secret technique heritages possess uniqueness. That is to say, in the same era, only one life can master this kind of secret technique heritage. This is an ironclad rule of the main world. Even if you have fully comprehended the secret technique heritage, you still cannot use it. Blood Demon Sea. The Blood Demon Master sat on an island deep within. After more than 100,000 years, I can finally stir up a great war in the central divine continent again. The Blood Demon Master's expression was one of excitement. 120,000 years ago, he had instigated a great war in the central divine continent alongside the demon saints Nest and Nether Palace. However, he was utterly defeated at the time and had only just recovered over the past few thousand years. Dowd Immortal sect occupying the Ascension platform has forced us to remain in this realm. The Blood Demon Master muttered to himself. Master. At this moment, a blood-colored figure condensed above the Blood Demon Sea and bowed towards the Blood Demon Master. The central divine continent is filled with formations laid by the Dowd Immortal sect. If we want to enter the central divine continent with minimal losses, we need to ascertain the specific locations of these formations and other details. The blood-colored figure spoke softly. What is your plan? The Blood Demon Master went straight to the point. There are not many in the Dowd Immortal sect who are privy to these formations, one of them being Jun Dongjin. The blood-colored figure implied meaningfully. It has been no secret that Jun Dongjin was assigned to Vast Cliff Mountain over the last century. The next sect master of the Dowd Immortal sect was almost certainly going to be Mu Mengting. Among them was the possibility of cooperation. As for how to cooperate, the two needed to find a place to discuss it in detail. In the end, Mu Qinglu chose Cloud Mist Blessed Land. As for why not Mount Morality Immortal? Mount Morality Immortal was the old den of the Immortal sect, and it was unknown how many strategies had been laid out by past sect masters. Mu Qinglu figured that if they really chose Mount Morality Immortal, then Master Yuanyang would not come. The Cloud Mist Blessed Land was quite appropriate. Although the Cloud Mist Blessed Land was one of the 108 Blessed Lands, it hadn't been rigged with many schemes. With Master Yuanyang's strength, the entire Cloud Mist Blessed Land was as insubstantial as tissue paper in his eyes. Choosing Cloud Mist Blessed Land meant that he, Mu Qinglu, absolutely had no other schemes up his sleeve. And the Cloud Mist Blessed Land was very close to Mount Morality Immortal. If the discussion did not go well, Mu Qinglu also had an escape route. One final point. Compared to other blessed lands of Central Divine Continent, the importance of Cloud Mist Blessed Land was not high, the only benefit being its ability to prolong life slightly. But the life-prolonging efficacy of Cloud Mist Blessed Land was negligible for cultivators.
Swish.
Mu Qinglu descended into the cloud mist-blessed land, greeting the sect master. Chenhua and Qiuyue's faces were filled with panic, not knowing what matter brought the sect master to them. "Where is Wuji?" Mu Qinglu asked. "The young master. He is in seclusion." Qiuyue spoke with a trembling voice. "I'll go tell the young master right away." "No need." Wuji. Images of Jun Wuji flashed through Mu Qinglu's mind. Moreover, the images of Jun Dongjin, Mu Lianer, Jun Xiaoyao, and Jun Jilan all passed through his mind in succession. For some reason, Mu Qinglu felt somewhat sorrowful at this moment. For the benefit of the Mu family, he had ultimately given up on Jun Dongjin, and even his two grandchildren, Jun Xiaoyao and Jun Jilan, had been sent to the distant vast cliff mountain. Only Jun Wuji, the grandson who had been scarcely noticeable since childhood, had escaped disaster, but even so, he was separated from his own parents and brothers. "Wuji, let him continue his cultivation. Don't disturb him."
Mu Qinglu sighed.
Despite being somewhat cruel, he, Mu Qinglu, did not feel he had done anything wrong. "Do not go up to the attic on the mountaintop. I shall meet a Taoist friend there." Mu Qinglu ordered a few words, then his figure disappeared. All credit goes to the original author. Enjoyed this story? Subscribe for daily uploads and more amazing content. Have a novel you want us to cover? Leave your requests in the comments. If you're the author and wish for this video to be removed or modified, please contact us at fableversodio@gmail.com. Comprehension Ability. Creating and teaching the Tao in various worlds. Chapter 14 Grandpa. What do you want to cooperate with me on? Please subscribe. _3. Yunwu Mountain Summit. Outside the attic. Mu Qinglu sat cross-legged, facing the direction of the East Sea, quietly waiting for Master Yuanyang to arrive. "I wonder what price must be paid to persuade Master Yuanyang to cooperate with me against the Blood Demon Sea, Nether Palace." Mu Qinglu thought to himself. He greatly valued Master Yuanyang, such a powerful figure, who would stand out in any era, even tens of thousands of years ago in that age, when beings beyond the void refinement limit frequently appeared. "We must have a good discussion later. Even if we fail to agree, we must resolve any grievances. I absolutely cannot let Master Yuanyang collaborate with those three old men."
Mu Qinglu secretly pondered.
He had already communicated with Master Yuanyang, proposing a cooperation discussion at Cloud Mist Blessed Land, and the latter would likely arrive soon. The foot of Yunwu Mountain. Chenhua and Qiuyue's faces had just regained some color. The sect master's sudden visit had really startled them. That was the Taoist immortal sect master, a supremely great figure in the central divine continent. For two lowly golden core stage female cultivators like them, meeting such a grand figure was something unlikely in their lifetimes. The sect master is here to meet some Tao companion, right? It must also be some grand figure, but to have the sect master personally wait, this Tao companion. Chenhua and Qiuyue were puzzled. With the status of the immortal sect leader, who under the heavens would dare be late and let the sect master personally wait? Isn't that putting on airs a bit too much? Does the term Taoist in Taoist immortal sect carry the meaning of being moral? The reason it is called the Tao immortal sect is that all enemies have been thoroughly defeated and subjugated. Only its own members are left, and that's why there's room for morality. As Chenhua and Qiuyue spoke softly, a figure emerged from a sealed cultivation chamber unknowingly.
"Ah,
young master. You've come out." Chenhua and Qiuyue turned around and saw Lin Yuan, immediately bowing to greet him. "Young master, the sect master was here just now. He's now at the summit of Yunwu Mountain, waiting for a Tao companion." Chenhua immediately shared everything she knew. "I understand." Lin Yuan nodded. Lin Yuan looked up towards the summit of Yunwu Mountain. The mountain was enshrouded in clouds and mist, much like an immortal realm. "It's about time." Lin Yuan's expression was calm. He then followed the mountain path stairway. Then he climbed the stairs towards the summit. "Young master." Chenhua and Qiuyue, upon seeing this, hesitated, but did not interfere. Although the Taoist immortal sect master had said not to let anyone go up, The young master was not an outsider. He was the immortal sect leader's grandson. He should be allowed to go up, right? Yunwu Mountain was not tall, only a few hundred meters high, but the mountain paths and stairways were quite rugged. Lin Yuan's eyes were downcast as he ascended step by step. Lin Yuan did not use any divine skills and simply climbed steadily. About half an hour later, Lin Yuan reached the summit of Yunwu Mountain. He saw Mu Qinglu facing east, back towards him. Lin Yuan walked straight towards him. Wuji. Mu Qinglu had already noticed Lin Yuan, but did not stop him. I've already talked to Meng Ting. He will soon bring Jun Dongjin and your mother back, and your family will be reunited. Mu Qinglu assumed Jun Wuji wanted to plead for his parents and directly broached the subject. Upon hearing this, Lin Yuan did not stop. He walked in front of Mu Qinglu and sat down eye level with the immortal sect leader who dominated the central divine continent. Wuji. Mu Qinglu's brow slightly furrowed. The spot Lin Yuan chose was the one he had reserved for Master Yuanyang. Nonetheless, since Wuji was his grandson, even with such impudence, Mu Qinglu still did nothing. Wuji, you go down first. In a moment, your grandfather and a Dao companion have important matters to discuss, matters that relate to the overall situation in the central divine continent. Mu Qinglu's expression was amiable. He thought he was not wrong about the Jun Dongjin situation, but he still felt somewhat guilty towards his grandson. Lin Yuan remained silent, simply quietly observing Mu Qinglu. Wuji.
Mu Qinglu is faded.
He was somewhat baffled about what his grandson was trying to do. Did he not understand the importance of the upcoming discussion for Daoed Immortal Sect for the Central Divine Continent? The two stared at each other. Grandfather. Just then, Lin Yuan slowly began to speak. Mu Qinglu's expression softened, but Lin Yuan's next words made his pupils contract. What do you want to cooperate with me on? All credit goes to the original author. Enjoyed this story? Subscribe for daily uploads and more amazing content. Have a novel you want us to cover? Leave your requests in the comments. If you are the author and wish for this video to be removed or modified, please contact us at fableversodio@gmail.com. Comprehension Ability. Creating and teaching the Tao in various worlds. Chapter 15. Being reactive and negotiating. Please subscribe. Baiyu Island. Lin Yuanyang's spirit floated down serenely. The disciples of the White Jade Pavilion were filled with fervor, having just thought themselves certainly doomed to death. The terrifying beam of light that pierced through heaven and earth had been effortlessly blocked by the sect master, especially the sect master himself, who, in the end, transformed into a colossal giant tens of thousands of zhang tall, covering the entire Baiyu Island with a mere palm. Such divine skills and abilities, even the ancient saints of refined void might not be capable of them, right? That light beam, should it be the Taihao immortal mirror of the Daoed immortal sect? Our sect master blocked the strike from the Taihao immortal mirror? Doesn't that mean the sect master is already an ancient saint? Nonsense, merely an ancient saint? That Taihao immortal mirror is the founding artifact of the Daoed immortal sect, and under it, which of the three ancient saints from the Blood Demon Sea, Nether Palace, and Demon Saint's Nest dare to resist? Our sect master's power is simply 100 years had made the White Jade Pavilion the most powerful force in the East Sea. Its disciples, worldly and wise, immediately deduced that the light descending from the 9 heavens probably came from the legendary immortal artifact, the Taihao immortal mirror. Lin Yuan glanced at the multitude of ecstatic disciples from the White Jade Pavilion, then returned directly to his cave dwelling in the core area. Master. Li Qing and the other disciples accepted by Lin Yuan immediately greeted him with utmost respect. Under Lin Yuan's occasional guidance and the rich cultivation environment of Baiyu Island, disciples like Li Qing were either at the 4th stage martial Tao or 5th stage martial Tao, matching the nascent soul true monarchs and Mahayana heavenly monarchs of the immortal cultivation system. The ordinary disciples outside had only seen Lin Yuan's incredible feat, blocking the strike from the immortal mirror that could have erased Baiyu Island from existence. But disciples like Li Qing, with their strong capabilities and high realm, were even more acutely aware of just how terrifying the colossal giant Lin Yuan had transformed into really was, and what it truly meant to be able to withstand a strike from the Taihao immortal mirror head-on. Master. How can Master be so powerful? Li Qing and the other disciples trembled in their spirits. They had been cultivating alongside Lin Yuan for over a century, under his tutelage. They had considered their master's power unfathomably deep, but at most felt it was close to an ancient saint of refined void level. As to blocking the strike from the world's strongest ancient saint of refined void just now, making the revered immortal sect leader retreat proactively, that was nothing short of a fanciful tale. Well, there's something I need to announce. Lin Yuan looked towards the 3 to 4 dozen disciples he had taken in over the years. These disciples were particularly suitable for cultivating the martial arts evolution system and were key to supporting the continuation of the martial arts evolution system once Lin Yuan left this realm. Master, please speak. Master, please speak. Li Qing and the other disciples immediately said respectfully, "Go and unify the East Sea." Lin Yuan spoke calmly. For over a century, even though the White Jade Pavilion had become the most powerful force in the East Sea, it had not interfered with other, less orthodox paths. Not because it couldn't, but for fear of attracting the attention of the Dowd Immortal sect. However, there was no need for such concerns now. Lin Yuan's power had already become invincible in this world. If not for that Taihao immortal mirror, merely with the Yin spirit and Yang spirit, he could have swept across this realm. Unify the islands of the East Sea. Li Qing and the other disciples were invigorated. Lin Yuan's gaze fell towards the direction of the central divine continent. This world is not limited to the immortal path. My martial Tao also needs to make its mark. Vast cliff mountain. Every corner was guarded by divinity transformation stage heaven lords. Jun Dongjin, as a former high-ranking member of the Dowd Immortal sect and even a contender for the sect master position, was now abandoned and assigned to the remote vast cliff mountain, yet still protected by divinity transformation stage cultivators from the immortal sect. In fact, it was more surveillance than protection. Jun Dongjin knew too many secrets of the Dowd Immortal sect, and should he escape or be swayed by the Nether Palace, Blood Demon Sea, or Demon Saint's Nest, it wouldn't bode well for the Dowd Immortal sect. Within a cave severally away from vast cliff mountain, 2 divinity transformation stage heaven lords sat cross-legged. To think that we, as esteemed heaven lords, would be assigned to such a remote place. The thin man on the left side, a divinity transformation stage heaven lord, even within the Dowd Immortal sect, is regarded as a mid to upper level cultivator, entitled to benefit from the spirit vein of Mount Morality Immortal, greatly aiding in cultivation. Yet now, situated around the vast cliff mountain, despite the presence of nature's spiritual energy, it surely pales in comparison to that of Immortal Mountain. Even Jun Dongjin himself is here. What complaints could you have? The round-faced heaven lord glanced at the thin man. I'm not complaining, just think the sect master is a bit unfeeling. Suppressing Jun Dongjin is one thing, but why reassign his daughter and grandson here as well? The sect master's decision must have its reasons. The round-faced heaven lord shook his head. Do you think Jun Dongjin will ever return to Mount Morality Immortal? The thin man couldn't help but ask. Not sure. It all depends on Mu Mingting's wishes. The round-faced heaven lord pondered then replied. The current situation within the Dowd Immortal sect was clear. Mu Mengting was designated as the next sect master. Then it's over. The thin man suddenly felt a headache. Though not appropriate to discuss the future sect master Mu Mengting, her vengeful nature was no secret. Perhaps once Mu Mengting stepped into the refining void period and became an ancient saint, taking over as immortal sect leader, her outlook might change, but that was merely a possibility. It's really Jun Wuji, Jun Dongjin's youngest son, who is lucky. The whole family is reassigned here, yet he remains enjoying his life in the cloud mist-blessed land. The thin man couldn't help but feel emotional. Sometimes, being weak is a blessing. All credit goes to the original author. Enjoyed this story? Subscribe for daily uploads and more amazing content. Have a novel you want us to cover? Leave your requests in the comments. If you are the author and wish for this video to be removed or modified, please contact us at fableversodio@gmail.com. Comprehension Ability, Creating and Teaching the Tao in Various Worlds. Chapter 15, Playing Second Fiddle and Negotiating. Subscribe requested _2. Jun Wuji was still able to stay in Cloud Mist Blessed Land only because, in the eyes of Mu Qinglu and Mu Mengding, this man posed no threat. He didn't even have the slightest presence. That's why he was able to escape this calamity. Indeed, the round-faced celestial lord nodded in agreement. If Jun Wuji had been the least bit noticeable, he, along with his two elder brothers and elder sister, would have been transferred over as well. Just as the gaunt man was about to say something, his expression suddenly changed. The round-faced celestial lord beside him experienced the same change. Within their sensory range, a presence appeared out of thin air, and it headed straight for Vast Cliff Mountain. How audacious! How reckless! Do you not know that this place is a forbidden land of the Taoed Immortal sect? The other Mahayana heavenly monarchs also noticed it one after another. They all revealed themselves, shouting in an explosive manner. Who are you?
So Yunvuti.
When the Mahayana phase heaven lords saw clearly the face of the newcomer, they were immediately stunned. The aura exuded by the figure in front of them was similar to that of Taiyin under the bright moon, but the face was that of Jun Wuji. Though Jun Wuji was exceedingly low profile within the Taoed Immortal sect, his appearance was widely known, as he was once a third-generation celestial with a heaven-reaching background. "I've come to take my parents away." Lin Yuan spoke with a calm tone. Before confronting Mu Qinglu, Lin Yuan had already sent his Taiyin primordial spirit to Vast Cliff Mountain. Regardless of the final outcome of the negotiations, Lin Yuan planned to take his parents and elder siblings to the Eastern Sea Islands. At the very least, he wouldn't allow them to remain in the hands of the Taoed Immortal sect. For this reason, this Taiyin primordial spirit of Lin Yuan had purposely transformed into the main body's appearance, so it would be easier for his parents to accept. "Son Jun Wuji, may I ask if you have the sect master's decree?" The round-faced celestial lord and the other celestial lords glanced at each other and tested the question. A starving camel is still bigger than a horse. Even though Jun Dongjin was no longer part of the sect's high ranks, he was after all the son-in-law of the Mu family. Jun Wuji was even the immortal sect leader's grandson. Once all the celestial lords on scene recognized Jun Wuji's identity, none of them dared to speak out of turn.
A sect decree.
"I don't have one." Lin Yuan shook his head as he replied. According to the rules, without a sect decree, Lord Jun Dongjin's family is not permitted to leave. The round-faced celestial lord reminded him, closely scrutinizing the Jun Wuji before him, sensing something very strange about his aura. "No matter," Lin Yuan said with a slight smile. The next moment, the expressions of the round-faced celestial lord and the others drastically changed. They all felt the space around them solidify and found that they were unable to move their internal mana or divine sense. They were bound in place. Then, under the watchful eyes of numerous celestial lords, Lin Yuan walked directly towards Vast Cliff Mountain. Inside Vast Cliff Mountain, Jun Dongjin, Mu Liener, and Jun Jilan, as well as Jun Xiaoyao, had long noticed the commotion outside. At this moment, they looked towards the approaching Jun Wuji in shock. "Wuji," Mu Liener tentatively called out. Although the appearance was the same, the aura was inconsistent. "Mother." Lin Yuan nodded. At that word, Mu Liener felt a sense of relief in her heart. Though it was just one word, it assured Mu Liener that this was indeed her younger son, Jun Wuji. Long story short, I'm going to take you to the East Sea now, where it is much safer than here. Lin Yuan looked towards his parents and elder siblings.
Yun Shilen blinked.
Everything that happened from the beginning until now left her in a state of confusion. How could her little brother be like this? And just now, that group of Mahayana heavenly monarchs watching over them, why did they suddenly become immobile? We'll explain after we reach the East Sea. Lin Yuan raised his right hand and swept his great sleeve. Space twisted as if compressed, and Jun Dongjin and the other three began to shrink steadily until they were all drawn into the sleeve. The Taoed Immortal Sect's supreme technique, Cosmos in the sleeve. The cloud mist blessed land. Taoed Immortal Sect leader Mu Qinglu, with his gaze fixed intently on the grandson sitting across from him at eye level. At this moment, Mu Qingliu's heart was overwhelmed by towering waves. That sentence, "What do you wish to cooperate with me on?" from Jun Wuji almost caused Mu Qinglu to lose his composure on the spot. As an ancient saint of refined void, with an exceptionally clear memory, Mu Qinglu was certain that the matter of cooperating with Master Yuanyang was only discussed with Master Yuanyang himself. To others, he had mentioned only that he was discussing important matters with a Taoist friend. Discussing important matters could mean many things, far beyond just cooperation. But now, Jun Wuji was asking him what to cooperate on. Wuji you. Mu Qingliu's pupils faintly reflected the silhouette of a celestial mirror. In just an instant, Mu Qinglu activated dozens, if not hundreds, of secret techniques, trying to uncover the truth about his grandson. He had no choice. That phrase, "what to cooperate on," had too great an impact on Mu Qinglu. Even if Jun Wuji had guessed it by chance, Mu Qinglu would still verify it repeatedly. With a jolt, Mu Qinglu closed his eyes tightly. He seemed to see torrents of blood qi and rolling scarlet clouds. Jun Wuji, within him, contained some sort of extremely terrifying power that blocked all of his probing secret techniques. Who are you really? Without a sound, above Mu Qingliu's head, a celestial mirror radiating with fairy light surfaced. The pressure from Jun Wuji was indeed too great, so great that he subconsciously activated the Taihao Immortal Mirror for protection. Grandfather.
I am Yun Wuji.
And also, Master Yuanyang. Lin Yuan's expression remained calm. Since he had decided to reveal his cards, Lin Yuan saw no need to hide his identity anymore, mainly because his current strength was already invincible, fearing nothing, not even the immortal sect leader wielding an immortal artifact. You? Mu Qingliu's face went through a myriad of changes. At this moment, he even suspected that his own grandson might have been possessed by the powerful Master Yuanyang. However, possession techniques come with many restrictions, and with his strength, he should have detected something amiss if Jun Wuji had genuinely been possessed. But there was nothing. The soul aura of his grandson had been unchanged from beginning to end. Master Yuanyang. Mu Qinglu raised his head, looking in the direction of the eastern sea, vaguely sensing an aura as imposing as the sun rising up and responding to the Jun Wuji in front of him. Impressive. After a long while, Mu Qingliu's expression gradually regained calmness. I never expected that my Taoed Immortal Sect, after hundreds of thousands of years, would produce a genius like you. Now that the most unbelievable possibility had become the truth, Mu Qingliu's mind began to clarify the numerous doubts he had. For instance, when Master Yuanyang first appeared, it had been on the Black Gauze Archipelago. At that time, his grandson was present to celebrate his own Hollow Void ceremony. Meng Ting was reporting to him about matters concerning the Black Gauze Archipelago at the time. I want to work with you. To work with you to take down Nether Palace, the Blood Demon Sea. Looking at Jun Wuji, who had become a stranger before him, Mu Qinglu said in a low voice. By now, he had fully elevated his own grandson to the same level of authority as himself, and his tone was of negotiation. No problem. Lin Yuan said indifferently. He had no particular affection for the Nether Palace, the Blood Demon Sea, or even the Demon Saint's Nest. Even if Mu Qinglu had not mentioned it now, Lin Yuan would have planned to flatten them later on. Then, Mu Qinglu let out a sigh of relief and continued. What are your conditions? As long as they could resolve a major concern that had plagued the Taoed Immortal Sect for hundreds of thousands of years, Mu Qinglu was willing to pay a significant price. Therefore, even if Lin Yuan made a huge demand, Mu Qinglu would likely agree in the end. After all, Lin Yuan was his grandson. Even if he gained a lot more benefits from the Taoed Immortal Sect, it would still be falling into the hands of his own people. Keeping the prophet in the family has its reasoning too. 3 conditions. Lin Yuan began. First, I want the complete Taoist immortal scripture. The Taoist immortal scripture, a sect treasure-level cultivation method of the Tao immortal sect, encompasses the essence of progress after the refining void period into the Tao integration stage. Within the entire Tao immortal sect, only the sect master is permitted to cultivate this scripture. Even the once Jun Dongjin had not learned it. As the 3rd generation of the immortal sect, Lin Yuan's older brother Jun Xiaoyao would often secretly bring out many of the immortal sect's secret techniques and methods for him. However, the Taoist immortal scripture was something he could not bring out. No one in the Tao immortal sect, except for the sect master, knew the location of this scripture, let alone have the chance to access or take it out. No problem. Mu Qinglu thought for a moment and nodded in agreement. All credit goes to the original author. Enjoyed this story? Subscribe for daily uploads and more amazing content. Have a novel you want us to cover? Leave your requests in the comments. If you are the author and wish for this video to be removed or modified, please contact us at fableversodio@gmail.com. Comprehension Ability. Creating and teaching the Tao in various worlds. Chapter 16. Contest for the Great Tao. Subscribe, please. For the Tao Immortal sect, the Taoist immortal scripture is of utmost importance, encompassing many secret techniques and methods of the sect. It even contains essential descriptions of the Tao integration stage. Therefore, within the Tao immortal sect, only the sect master could cultivate the Taoist immortal scripture. Even though Mu Mengding had stepped into the refining void, he could not access the Taoist immortal scripture before becoming the sect master. This was a rule and ironclad law of the Tao immortal sect, adhered to for hundreds of thousands of years. However, Mu Qinglu knew that rules were made by men. His own grandson, with such terrifying aptitude and fearsome power, could be trusted with a Taoist immortal scripture without significant risk. After all, whether it was given or not, Mu Qinglu had no confidence in defeating Lin Yuan. This must not be divulged, and all matters concerning the Taoist immortal scripture must not be taught to a second person.
Mu Qinglu spoke.
He could only tolerate Jun Wuji being the sole person privy to the Taoist immortal scripture. Agreed. Lin Yuan nodded. The second condition. I want to know everything about the Ascension platform. Lin Yuan continued. The Ascension platform is of great significance. The Blood Demon Sea, the Nether Palace, and the Demon Saint's Nest have continuously stirred up wars in the Divine Continent in pursuit of the Ascension platform. Furthermore, hundreds of thousands of years ago, the Tao immortal sect's control over the Divine Continent was also due to the Ascension platform. It is said that the Ascension platform connects to the spirit realm. You need not mention this. I would have told you anyway, Mu Qinglu said. Even if he did not inform Lin Yuan, those 3 old fellows from the Nether Palace, the Blood Demon Sea, and the Demon Saint's Nest would eagerly tell Master Yuanyang. The third. Lin Yuan paused. The third condition, also critically important, outweighed the previous 2 combined. I wish to spread martial Tao throughout the Divine Continent. Lin Yuan stated. Implicitly, the Tao immortal sect must not suppress the spread of martial Tao. Martial Tao. Mu Qiliu's expression changed slightly. He knew that many disciples in the White Jade Pavilion of the Eastern Sea were cultivating a system called martial Tao. Mu Qinglu had even observed some techniques of the martial arts system. Martial Tao, being a cultivation system entirely different from the immortal path, showed potential that was not much weaker than the immortal path. The reason why this time the Tao immortal sect cultivated the second ancient saint, with Mu Qinglu wielding the Taihao immortal mirror and intending to erase Baiyu Island, was not only because he saw Baiyu Island as an easy target, but because martial Tao posed a certain threat to Mu Qinglu. In the Eastern Sea Islands, with 800 fringe sects and 3,000 left paths, the cultivation systems vary greatly, but they all have obvious flaws and almost never give rise to a being at the refining void ancient saint layer. This was also why the Eastern Sea Islands remained in perpetual chaos, lacking a sufficiently powerful cultivator, thus constantly fractured. But martial Tao. Mu Qinglu was almost certain that cultivating according to the martial Tao cultivation system and producing an ancient saint, or the equivalent of six-stage martial Tao, was merely a matter of time. Choose another. That's impossible. Mu Qinglu shook his head. Other matters could be discussed. But allowing the spread of martial Tao?
Absolutely impossible.
In Mu Qingliu's eyes, his greatest concession could be allowing Jun Wuji to become the next sect master of the immortal sect. After all, Jun Wuji was a disciple of the Daoed immortal sect, with such strength and aptitude, far surpassing Mu Mengting whom he had nurtured. Allowing Jun Wuji to be the next sect master was not a problem, but rather could fully align him with their cause. As for Mu Mengting, he could only be slightly disgraced, serving as the protector of the Daoed immortal sect.
Impossible.
Lin Yuan's expression remained unchanged. He internally sighed softly. He had anticipated this possibility, as martial Tao and the immortal path were fundamentally different. Simply put, what is the fundament of the Daoed immortal sect? Is it the successive sect masters? Or the endless immortal methods and secret techniques? Neither. The fundament of the Daoed immortal sect is the immortal path. The immortal path, for the Daoed immortal sect, is as essential as the imperial bloodline in a vast empire. In the empire, anyone can become emperor, provided they possess the imperial lineage. Nowadays, Lin Yuan's attempt to have the Daoed immortal sect permit the spread of martial Tao is akin to undercutting the foundation and changing dynasties. If Mu Qinglu truly agreed to this, he would become the eternal sinner of the Daoed immortal sect. Martial Tao and the immortal path represent two fundamentally different great Dao. Contests between great Dao are exactly like this. As for why body cultivation does not conflict with the immortal path, it's because body cultivation is not a complete cultivation system. Any cultivation system, when developed deeply, enhances oneself all round, body, spirit, lifespan, etc. However, body cultivation only enhances the physical body, unable even to increase the most fundamental lifespan of a cultivator. This means that body cultivation is more akin to a type of secret technique. Not only the immortal path but also martial Tao, demonic Tao, and others could incorporate body cultivation into their domain. Then forget it. Lin Yuan remained calm. His appearance at the meeting with Mu Qinglu was merely a test to gauge the attitude of the Daoed immortal sect towards martial Tao. Lin Yuan had already prepared for failure before he ascended the summit of Yunwu Mountain, having the Taiyin primordial spirit move his parents and siblings to the Eastern Sea in advance. Forget it. Mu Qinglu remained silent. These words marked the failure of their cooperation. Wuji.
Mu Qinglu's gaze suddenly intensified.
The Taihao immortal mirror above his head emitted strands of immortal light. That Master Yuanyang, he must be one of your avatars? Mu Qinglu muttered to himself. The technique of creating avatars is not rare, and the Daoed immortal sect possesses the secret technique to forge avatars. All credit goes to the original author. Enjoyed this story? Subscribe for daily uploads and more amazing content. Have a novel you want us to cover? Leave your requests in the comments. If you are the author and wish for this video to be removed or modified, please contact us at fableversodio@gmail.com. Comprehension Ability. Creating and Teaching the Tao in Various Worlds. Chapter 16. The Struggle of the Great Tao. Subscription request, _2. However, to refine an avatar, one must pay a huge price, and in the end, one has to split off a portion of their own soul and infuse it into the avatar body. Losing a portion of one's soul means a decrease in the cultivation speed and perception, among other aspects. Therefore, Mu Qinglu did not cultivate the avatar technique. He wielded the Taihao immortal mirror, and in today's world, no matter the distance, he could instantly form an incarnation with the mirror, which was not much different from an avatar. Today, I want to see, Wuji, just how strong you have become after all this time of restraint. Mu Qinglu suddenly stood up, and above his head, the Taihao immortal realm shone brightly. At the foot of Yunwu Mountain, Chunhua and Chiryue, two golden core female cultivators, were whispering to each other. The young master has been up there for so long. Why hasn't he come down yet? Perhaps he is talking with the sect leader. After all, the young master has not gone out for a long time. Indeed, but the fact that the sect leader is willing to talk so much with the young master shows they must have feelings. While chatting, Chunhua and Qiuyue glanced toward the top of Yunwu Mountain.
Suddenly,
A terrifying fluctuation transmitted from the mountaintop. Instinctively, Chunhua and Qiuyue looked up. They were instantly so shocked that their jaws dropped. They saw two figures soaring into the sky from the top of Yunwu Mountain. The one on the left was the immortal sect leader, Mu Qinglu, with the founding artifact of the sect, the Taihao Immortal Mirror, radiating boundless light and boundless calamity, his presence overwhelming. The figure on the right seemed to possess supreme strength, with raging blood energy and rolling crimson clouds drowning the area within 100,000 miles. With the Taihao Immortal Mirror above his head, the immortal sect leader, Mu Qinglu, appeared like a ship that could capsize at any moment among the vast sea of blood and energy, swaying unsteadily. Within Mount Morality Immortal, countless immortal sect disciples cried tears of relief. Just now, they really felt the threat of death, thinking the Dao Immortal sect, with its heritage of hundreds of thousands of years, might actually not withstand the attack of that yin-yang great grinding disk.
but now,
Mount Morality Immortal had not been breached, and that figure, standing high in the sky, looking down on them like a true immortal, Wuji, had also disappeared, likely having left. We have survived. Ha ha ha, I knew my life wasn't supposed to end. We survived. We really survived. Countless immortal sect disciples couldn't help but celebrate wildly. From life to death, and from death back to life, such great fluctuations, even for cultivators, could inevitably affect their state of mind. Survived? Above in the sky, Jun Wuji watched the disciples' wild celebration and couldn't help feeling a bit bitter. Since when had the lofty disciples of the Dao Immortal sect expressed such sentiments? Go find the sect master. He composed himself and immediately flew towards the top of Mount Morality Immortal. For ordinary disciples, indeed, they had survived. But for the higher-ups of the Immortal sect, it was just the beginning. What the Immortal sect needs to do next is crucial. Wuji had only left, not died. It was far from a time for celebration. The Grand Hall at the top of Mount Morality Immortal. Sect Master Mu Qinglu sat in the main seat, his eyes closed, frowning in deep thought. Sect Master. Mu Mengting appeared in the hall, bowing slightly to Mu Qinglu.
Mengting.
Mu Qinglu opened his eyes and looked at Mu Mengting. Observing the respectful demeanor of Mu Mengting, Mu Qinglu subconsciously compared him to Jun Dongjin, and found the two simply couldn't compare. Did I really choose wrong? Mu Qinglu thought silently to himself. If he had not chosen Mu Mengting to be the next immortal sect leader, but had chosen Jun Dongjin instead, would they have avoided the disaster that had just befallen the Dao Immortal sect? Although it's true that Lin Yuan wanted to spread martial Tao, a point on which he definitely won't compromise, and neither would the Dao Immortal sect. If Jun Dongjin had been the leader of the Immortal sect, there would have been at least some room for easing the situation, instead of it escalating to direct conflict like just now. Sect Master, what should we do now? Mu Mengting asked cautiously. What should we do? Mu Qinglu focused his thoughts. Wuji's strength is beyond us now. We can only seek the advice of our ancestors. The ancestors' opinions? Mu Mengting's eyes lit up. The Dao Immortal sect had been inherited for hundreds of thousands of years and had no less than 30 generations of leaders. On average, each leader ruled the Immortal sect for only 10 to 20,000 years. Why is that? It must be known that an ancient saint of Refinement Void's lifespan far exceeds 20,000 years, as the three ancient saints from the Blood Demon Sea, Nether Palace, and Demon Saint's Nest have lived from that era until now. It's not difficult for an ancient saint of Refinement Void to live for several 100,000 years. But in reality, the Dao Immortal sect has had many leaders, and the reason is the spirit realm. The Dao Immortal sect controls the Ascension platform, a passage linking to the spirit realm, and its past leaders ascended to the spirit realm through it. All credit goes to the original author. Enjoyed this story? Subscribe for daily uploads and more amazing content. Have a novel you want us to cover? Leave your requests in the comments. If you are the author and wish for this video to be removed or modified, please contact us at fableversodio@gmail.com. Comprehension Ability. Creating and teaching the Tao in various worlds. Chapter 18. In a hurry for a century, numerous beings, all watching one person. Please subscribe. _2. It is said that the cultivation environment in the spirit realm far surpasses that of the central divine continent. In the spirit realm, the ancestors of the Tao Immortal sect even included Unity Realm true immortals. You should not have too many expectations for the ancestors. The ancestors residing in the spirit realm find it difficult to intervene in the lower realms. Mu Qinglu shook his head. If the ancestors could intervene in Central Divine Continent, then the Demon Saint's Nest, Nether Palace, and Blood Demon Sea would have been flattened long ago. How could they still exist today? Bayou Island.
Yun Dongin, Mu Liena, Yun Xiaoyao, and Yun Shiren.
They were anxiously waiting, speculating uneasily. Is this Bayou Island the territory of Master Yuanyang? Does Wuji also have a connection with Master Yuanyang? The shock in Jun Dongjin's heart never ceased. Although he had vaguely guessed from Lin Yuan Taiyin primordial spirit's display of universe in the sleeve that his youngest son, Jun Wuji, might be far stronger than they imagined. Yet until they received Jun Wuji's personal confirmation, they could not be sure. At that moment, Lin Yuan appeared, not far away. Wuji, younger brother.
Mu Liena, Yun Shiren, and Yun Xiaoyao ran Oafiest.
What exactly is going on? The person who met us earlier. Why does he look like you? Jun Jilan couldn't help but ask. That was one of my, let's say, avatars. Lin Yuan thought for a moment and explained. The martial path evolutionary path's martial Tao primordial spirit indeed resembled an avatar, only it did not require the same price as cultivating an avatar. Next, Lin Yuan disclosed everything truthfully. Like his true strength, both the so-called Master Yuanyang and Ancient Saint Taiyin were his avatars. As for why he possessed such power, Lin Yuan explained that in his childhood, some memories suddenly emerged in his mind. Those memories contained some incomplete cultivation methods. Anyway, it was mostly true, with a bit of falsehood. I have read in some ancient scriptures that before the appearance of the Ascension platform, those capable of exceeding the void refinement limit faced the end of their lifespans and would attempt reincarnation. Wuji, you must be the reincarnation of some powerful being. However, the theory of reincarnation is elusive and includes grappling with the mystery in the womb. That powerful being's true self might have already dissipated, leaving only some memories for you, Wuji, to take in. Jun Dongjin pondered for a while and then spoke. Although the theory of reincarnation was elusive, it truly existed. In the history of the Tao Immortal sect, it had taken in some exceptionally precocious disciples. These disciples were innately knowledgeable, and visions of another world would often flash through their minds. Young brother, are you saying that you just visited Mount Morality Immortal and almost breached it?
Yun Shiren blinked her eyes.
She understood every word Lin Yuan said, but when combined, why did it seem so alien? I took action against the Tao Immortal sect with no ill intentions, only to prove my strength in preparation for spreading the martial Tao. Lin Yuan stated truthfully. If one wanted to spread the martial Tao, relying solely on kinship and words was futile. The Tao Immortal sect had the backing of the spirit realm, ancestors, so Lin Yuan never intended to eradicate Mount Morality Immortal. After all, Lin Yuan could only stay in this world for 500 years, and even if he did destroy the Tao Immortal sect, 500 years later, after Lin Yuan left this world, the Tao Immortal sect's spirit realm, ancestors could easily make a comeback and re-establish the Tao Immortal sect. Even for a Unity Realm true immortal, spanning two realms to break through world barriers and intervene in the lower realms is extremely challenging. At most, they could employ some minor tricks. Such tactics might be sufficient to deal with ordinary beings who had surpassed the void refinement limit, but against Lin Yuan, they were utterly ineffective. However, with Lin Yuan present for the next 500 years, there was no need to worry about the martial Tao. But what about after 500 years? Thus, the real purpose of Lin Yuan's actions was to force the hands of those ancestors from the Tao immortal sect in the spirit realm. As for why he did not use more peaceful methods such as speaking frankly with Mu Qinglu, there really was no difference. If Lin Yuan lacked sufficient strength, even if he appeared in a peaceful demeanor, he would still face suppression from the Tao immortal sect. Conversely, if Lin Yuan demonstrated the ability to annihilate the Tao immortal sect in this realm, no matter what he did, as long as he did not cross a line, there would be room for negotiation. Moreover, Lin Yuan had another motive. That was to avenge his parents. It was the Tao immortal sect's mistake in choosing the wrong person. Wuji, you do as you see fit. Jun Dongjin looked at his son and said, having experienced the peak and the potential of becoming the next sect master within the Tao immortal sect, as well as the lows, having spent a century at the remote vast cliff mountain, he had seen through many things. After explaining everything to his parents, elder brother, and elder sister, Lin Yuan personally arranged a residence for them on Bayou Island. Bayou Island brimmed with dense spiritual energy. Even though it was not Mount Morality Immortal, it was a match for any paradise in the central divine continent. It was much better than the remote, vast cliff mountain. With his parents cultivating here, Lin Yuan felt very relieved. Several months later, Lin Yuan sat cross-legged inside his cave dwelling. Nearby, a man in a blood-red robe bowed respectfully. I have seen you, my lord. This man in the blood robe was indeed the master of the Blood Demon Sea. After spending several tense months in the Blood Demon Sea, he had decided to pay Lin Yuan a visit in person. Given the strength Lin Yuan had shown, flattening his Blood Demon Sea was not a difficult task. Faced with such a powerhouse, the Blood Demon Master naturally knew what to do. Is this one of your avatars? Lin Yuan looked at the Blood Demon Master with keen interest. He was not the first ancient saint to visit Lin Yuan. Before him, the Ghost Cultivator King of the Nether Palace and the Demon Saint of the Demon Saint's Nest had already visited. They each had offered their core secret techniques in hopes of gaining Lin Yuan's protection. But to say they sought protection was not quite accurate. They merely hoped Lin Yuan would not strike against them. Lin Yuan naturally accepted all of them with a smile. These old ancient saints of refinement void, who had lived for hundreds of thousands of years, had many valuable secret techniques and teachings. My lord, as my true body cannot leave the Blood Demon Sea, I had to send this incarnation. The Blood Demon Master suddenly grew anxious, thinking that Lin Yuan was blaming him for being rude. Not to worry. Lin Yuan waved his hand. My lord, this is the Immortal Blood Sea skill I've been practicing for a long time. The Blood Demon Master immediately presented a blood-colored jade slip. He then pledged his loyalty to Lin Yuan, saying that if Lin Yuan commanded, he would expand the Blood Demon Sea, invade the central divine continent, and battle the Tao immortal sect to the death. After sending the Blood Demon Master away, Lin Yuan began to study the Immortal Blood Sea skill in the jade slip. To merge with the Blood Sea, immortal and indestructible, no wonder the Tao immortal sect has been unable to suppress it for hundreds of thousands of years. This skill already involves some techniques of the Unity realm. Lin Yuan's expression turned slightly solemn. The Demon Saint's Nest and the Nether Palace were able to withstand suppression from the Tao immortal sect up to this day because the Demon Saint's Nest and the Nether Palace were powerful artifacts left by those who surpassed the void refinement limit tens of thousands of years ago. However, the Master of the Blood Demon Sea did not have these, relying solely on merging with the Blood Demon Sea to remain at large until now. Such technique, if only it could be slightly modified. Lin Yuan was rather tempted. The flaw of the Immortal Blood Sea skill was that one could not leave the item to which one was merged. For example, the Blood Demon Master could not leave the range of the Blood Demon Sea because he was the Blood Demon Sea, and the Blood Demon Sea was him. But with Lin Yuan's against heaven's understanding, it was not impossible to eliminate this flaw, albeit at the expense of weakening the immortal characteristic slightly. Years passed leisurely. 100 years flew by quickly. Baiyu Island became increasingly prosperous, and the number of martial Dao cultivators also grew. In the Jun Dongjing territory, Mu Lianu, Jun Xiaoyao, and Jun Jilan had a happy and stress-free life on Baiyu Island. And now, Baiyu Island's reputation had surpassed that of the Dao Immortal sect, further elevating the status of Jun Xiaoyao and Jun Jilan. Just then, a terrifying aura burst from the core area of Baiyu Island. The magnitude of this aura seemed capable of suppressing all things. Across the billion-mile region of the East Sea, nature's spiritual energy began to tremble. The Demon Saint's nest. The Demon Saint looked toward the direction of the East Sea in shock. Has that lord broken through? The Demon Saint murmured to himself. 100 years ago, that lord had the ability to hang up the Dao Immortal sect and beat it. With another step forward, what level would he reach? The Nether Palace. The ghost cultivator king sighed. His gaze also turned toward the East Sea, pondering something. The Blood Demon Sea and the Blood Demon Master did the same. The Dao Immortal sect. Mu Qinglu and Mu Mengding felt the aura from the East Sea immediately, sprang from their seats, and looked toward the East Sea. As the breakthrough aura became more immense, suddenly, countless beings, as if sensing something, looked unconsciously toward the direction of the East Sea. It was as if all the world, as one in gaze, watched a single man. All credit goes to the original author. Enjoyed this story? Subscribe for daily uploads and more amazing content. Have a novel you want us to cover? Leave your requests in the comments. If you are the author and wish for this video to be removed or modified, please contact us at fableversodio@gmail.com. Comprehension Ability. Creating and teaching the Tao in various worlds. Chapter 19. Ascension Platform. Please subscribe. Name: Yunwuti, Lin Yuan. Identity: holder of the Myriad Realms Gate. Bound talent: heaven-defying comprehension, divine skills, blood rebirth. Current state: consciousness descent. Remaining residency time: 220 years. At the core cave, dwelling on Baiyu Island, Lin Yuan sat cross-legged, his terrifying aura spreading through the void, rippling out in all directions as if it were ripples formed by a stone thrown into a calm body of water. This world. Lin Yuan opened his eyes and looked towards the direction of the Dao Immortal sect in the central divine continent. With his current understanding of space, no matter how far the distance, he could sense that deep within the Dao Immortal sect, space seemed to be torn open, suggesting some kind of incompleteness. It was as if there was a black, suddenly appearing on a piece of white paper, which would stand out as extraordinarily prominent in Lin Yuan's vision. Is that the ascension platform controlled by the Dao Immortal sect? Lin Yuan appeared thoughtful. Compared to the final spatial rift in the Divine Arms world, this ascension platform's connected spatial passage seems much more stable and orderly. It was similar to the spatial passage formed by the crystal cube that the eldest senior brother brought out when Lin Yuan first broke through to the 6th rank, which allowed direct arrival at the Chikuan main star. Lin Yuan sat at the East Sea, observed the ascension platform at the Dao Immortal sect for a while, and then shifted his gaze away. The ascension platform, as of now, held no secrets for Lin Yuan. It was simply a stable space passage leading to a certain world. Of course, stable as it might be, it was still filled with a kind of spatial pressure, and only those of at least the 6th rank or refining void ancient saint layer could pass through it. 280 years. Lin Yuan sat cross-legged, having descended into this world almost 300 years ago, with just a fraction of the 500 years of residency time left. 60 years ago, I had already stepped into the 12th segment of the 6th rank. 50 years ago, I reached the peak of the 12th segment, and just now I even managed to take a half step beyond the 12th segment. But the 7th rank, I still haven't figured it out. In 100 years, besides the Taoist immortal scripture from the Dao Immortal sect, Lin Yuan had comprehended all the techniques and secret arts of this world and used their essence as nutrients to feed into the martial path evolutionary path. However, Lin Yuan understood that to truly start the 7th rank chapter of the martial path evolutionary path, he still lacked something. Despite having many references for the 7th rank evolution pathway to ponder, The 7th rank chapter that Lin Yuan wanted to create for the martial path evolutionary path would certainly be unique and perfectly fit for himself. 7th rank. Lin Yuan's expression was contemplative. In this world, the immortal cultivation system's realm corresponding to the 7th rank was the Tao integration stage. What is the Tao integration stage? To become one with the Tao. I am the Tao, and the Tao is me. The Tao integration stage is also known as true immortal, which is a level truly belonging to immortals. Tao integration? Perhaps observing the Taoist immortal scripture will help my 7th rank chapter? Lin Yuan thought to himself. It has to be said that the immortal cultivation system indeed has exceptional aspects, and the farther along one gets, the more terrifying the powers wielded by those true immortals become. Unfortunately, the end of this cultivation system seems to have been occupied by a certain existence. Lin Yuan shook his head slightly. The immortal path prevails in this world, and it just so happens that an ascension platform connecting to the spirit realm, suitable for the immortal cultivation system, appears? How can this be merely coincidence? In the dragon-tiger world, there were supreme beings from the upper realms making arrangements, leaving behind the true martial sword and the primeval demon spirit. And in this world, Lin Yuan still sensed traces of the meddling of even higher powers. Even if separated by worlds, even the supreme beings cannot traverse the gap through nothingness and will be subject to severe restrictions. At most, they can only lower their methods. Lin Yuan grew increasingly aware of the terror of the door to the Myriad Realms, a means that defied both space and time constraints to forcefully project oneself into a particular world, and deemed it inconceivable. To know, the door to the Myriad Realms can not only perform consciousness descent but also allow physical traversal, and as long as there is enough world-breaking origin force, it can even precisely lock onto and traverse to a specific world. After pondering for a moment, Lin Yuan got up and walked out of the cave dwelling. His strength and realm had now reached a certain limit. Even if he continued to retreat, he might not gain anything in the next several decades or 100 years. This was not because heaven-defying comprehension was insufficient. Lin Yuan could open the 7th rank path now if he did not care about the potential. But there are differences between the 7th rank and the 7th rank. Some 7th rank evolution pathways have the potential to ascend to the 9th stage evolution path. Some 7th rank evolution pathways, however, have no chance of ascending even to the 8th rank. Spiritual energy swirled around Bayou Island, and layers of formation light shielded the entire island. Wuji, Jun Dongjin, Mu Lian'er, Jun Xiaoyao, Jun Jilan, and others, seeing Lin Yuan come out, greeted him promptly. The disturbance caused by Lin Yuan's recent breakthrough was not insignificant, as cultivators with a bit of strength everywhere in the world sensed it. Father, mother. Lin Yuan walked over. How are things on the island now? Lin Yuan asked casually. Spending most of his time in seclusion, Lin Yuan had left most of the affairs of the White Jade Pavilion to his disciples, as well as to his parents and elder brother and sister. However, Jun Dongjin and Mu Lian'er were not too keen on intervening in the affairs of the White Jade Pavilion, but Jun Xiaoyao and Jun Jilan showed some interest. Master. Li Qing stepped forward. As Lin Yuan's disciple, she was primarily responsible for all affairs of the White Jade Pavilion. Even Jun Xiaoyao and Jun Jilan were only helping her. Currently in the White Jade Pavilion, there are 16 million disciples at the 1st rank martial Tao, 890 million at the 2nd rank, 110,000 at the 3rd rank, 2,421 at the 4th rank stage martial Tao, and 24 at the 5th rank. All credit goes to the original author. Enjoyed the story? Subscribe for daily uploads and more amazing content. Have a novel you want us to cover? Leave your requests in the comments. If you are the author and wish for this video to be removed or modified, please contact us at fableversodio@gmail.com. Comprehension Ability. Creating and teaching the Tao in various worlds. Chapter 19, Ascension Platform. Please subscribe. _2. Li Qing paused for a moment, then whispered, "No disciple has yet cultivated to the 6th stage martial Tao." Indeed. Lin Yuan nodded slightly. The martial path evolutionary path had only been spreading for a little more than 200 years, yet it had already cultivated so many practitioners, which could be considered rapid development. In fact, the fastest development of the martial path evolutionary path occurred in the last 100 years. 100 years ago, Lin Yuan, with an absolutely overwhelming manner, approached the gates of Tao's immortal sect. Even though he ultimately did not breach Mount Morality Immortal, who didn't know of his invincible might. Hence, the martial path evolutionary path propagated by Lin Yuan naturally attracted countless people, especially the heterodox and left paths from the Eastern Sea Islands, who were particularly eager to join White Jade Pavilion. 6th Stage Martial Tao. Even with Lin Yuan's guidance, White Jade Pavilion has yet to produce a 6th Stage Martial Tao practitioner. Lin Yuan was not surprised by this fact. The 6th rank corresponded to the ancient saint of refinement void. Even in the main world, the leap from the 5th to 6th rank was a threshold. The essence of life for 6th rank evolvers transformed, enabling them to imprint their life seals onto the cosmic starry skies. In this world, the ancient saint of refinement void was undoubtedly the ceiling of combat power. Even a strong force like Tao's immortal sect was mostly guarded by a single ancient saint. Actually, had it not been for Lin Yuan's sudden enlightenment in the main world, breaking the limitations of the martial path evolutionary path to make it inclusive of everything. Otherwise, now not to mention 6th stage martial Tao, probably there would only be a few at the 4th or 5th stages. Not everyone possesses talent in the domain of Taiyin Taiyang Taiji. Next, I need to take a trip away. After chatting with his family and disciples for a while, Lin Yuan spoke up. Leaving. Mu Liener had a guess in her heart and tentatively asked, Wuji, are you thinking of going to Mount Morality Immortal? 100 years ago, Lin Yuan did not force his way into Mount Morality Immortal. 100 years later, after several breakthroughs, the purpose of Lin Yuan leaving Bayou Island is self-evident. Right. Lin Yuan nodded. Mount Morality Immortal was indeed one of his goals. Wuji. Mu Liener sighed, wanting to say more but hesitating. Mother, rest assured, I have a sense of measure in what I do. Lin Yuan comforted. His trip to Tao's immortal sect was indeed with the intent of negotiating. Of course, those eligible to negotiate with Lin Yuan could only be the ancestral masters of the spirit realm from Tao's immortal sect. Outside Bayou Island, the figure of Lin Yuan appeared. Tao's immortal sect. Lin Yuan glanced in the direction of the central divine continent. Before heading to Tao's immortal sect, Lin Yuan had another matter to attend to. That was the deep sea beneath the very Bayou Island. More precisely, it was the deep sea bottom underneath Bayou Island. The position of Bayou Island was not fixed. It would sink to the bottom of the deep sea every 2,000 years, and then resurface after another 2,000 years. Now, Bayou Island had already become the holy land for martial Tao cultivators. Even in the future, when the focal point of the martial arts system might shift to Central Divine Continent, the position of Bayou Island would still be irreplaceable. Just as in the main world, it is the same as the ancestral star, the mother star of the Human Civilization Alliance. The territory of the Human Civilization Alliance is vast, encompassing countless life planets, but there is only one ancestral star, the mother star. Its symbolic significance exceeds all else. In this scenario, if Bayou Island were to continue to follow the 2,000-year pattern of sinking and floating, it would naturally be somewhat inappropriate. The bottom of the deep sea. It was almost completely dark here. Terrible pressure from the sea bore down from all directions. Even nascent soul stage, divinity transformation stage cultivators didn't dare to stay in such an environment for long periods of time. What's more, in the bottom of the deep sea, the most terrifying thing is not the extreme environment, but rather those ancient and ferocious demonic beasts that have existed for tens of thousands of years. Following below Bayou Island, Lin Yuan came to the bottom of the deep sea. This place is a deep sea eye. Every 2,000 years, as sea water circulates, a tremendous suction force emerges, devouring vast amounts of sea water and conveying it to the other side of the East Sea in an endless cycle, once every 2,000 years. Lin Yuan thought to himself. And Baiyu Island was right above the eye of the sea. Whenever a suction force emerged, the island would uncontrollably sink until it reached the bottom of the deep sea and blocked the eye of the sea, only then stopping. Once the suction force disappeared, Baiyu Island naturally floated back up. To resist this suction force isn't difficult. One just needs to seal this eye of the sea, he said. Not to mention an ancient saint of refinement void. Even a Mahayana phase heaven lord could do it. Only, Lin Yuan glanced around. With his perception, he naturally noticed that many deep-sea behemoths with terrifying auras were nearby. Should he start sealing the eye of the sea, he would definitely alarm those deep-sea behemoths. With their enormous bodies and the fact they were in their home territory, even an ancient saint of refinement void, if surrounded by a group of deep-sea behemoths, would probably only be able to flee in a sorry state. But for Lin Yuan, of course, this wasn't an issue.
Sal.
Lin Yuan looked towards the eye of the deep sea, his mind slightly stirring, releasing strands of essence that began to seal the massive eye of the sea. Far away, many deep-sea behemoths noticed the disturbance. They immediately started to approach. The next moment, these deep-sea behemoths seemed to realize something. They fled at speeds tens of times faster than when they had approached. Quite astute, he said. Lin Yuan glanced at those deep-sea behemoths frantically fleeing. He had intentionally let out a small trace of his aura, which nearly scared the behemoths out of their wits. While the behemoths of the deep sea had low spiritual wisdom, they weren't stupid. Feeling an aura far surpassing their own, who would dare to approach? An hour later, Lin Yuan completely sealed the eye of the deep sea. He then left the seabed and headed in the direction of the central divine continent. Mount Morality Immortal. Lin Yuan's form appeared without a sound. 100 years had passed, yet Mount Morality Immortal had not changed. But the disciples of the sect had obviously become much more low-key. If they had no important business, they almost never left Mount Morality Immortal. You two stay outside, he said. Lin Yuan pondered for a moment, his mind slightly moving, and Yin spirit and Yang spirit emerged, standing on each side of him. Although with Lin Yuan's current strength, even if the Dowd Immortal sect really did summon the ancestral masters of the spirit realm, it would likely be useless, posing no threat to Lin Yuan. But it's always best to be cautious, just in case. For safety, Lin Yuan decided to keep Yin spirit and Yang spirit outside. Lin Yuan's original self and Yin spirit and Yang spirit were a united three. As long as one still existed, the other two could be reborn, even if they were annihilated or fallen. Taiyin giving rise to Taiyang, or Taiyang giving rise to Taiyin. Finally, Taiji giving birth to all things, where all things refer to Lin Yuan's physical body. Leave a drop of essence blood outside, he said. Lin Yuan raised his right hand. A drop of crimson essence blood emerged, falling into the Yang spirit. Though Taiyin and Taiyang blended into Taiji, which in turn fostered the physical body, this method would take a considerable amount of time. And it would also consume some origin source. If he used essence blood instead, it would be much better. The physical body divine ability that Lin Yuan mastered, blood rebirth. Even with only a drop of fresh blood, he could quickly be reborn. Such was the power of divine skills. Now it's about time, he said. Lin Yuan looked at the preparations he made, a smile appearing on his face. If Lin Yuan steps into the 7th rank, he can completely look down from a high place and recomprehend the progress from the 6th rank chapter to the 7th rank chapter in the martial path evolutionary path. In the main world, those evolution scholars who possess the power of the 8th or even 9th rank, given such a height, it isn't difficult to establish a tremendously potential 3rd, 4th, and 5th rank evolutionary path. Time slowly passed. 100 years flickered by. Since Lin Yuan and the Dowd Immortal sect's ancestral master of the spirit realm, Songqing Immortal, reached an agreement. The White Jade Pavilion has seen unprecedented development and even began mutually beneficial cooperation with the Dowd Immortal sect. The Immortal sect leader Mu Qinglu even personally came to Baiyu Island to discuss many matters with Jun Dongjin and Mu Liener. Mu Qinglu expressed the intention to invite Jun Dongjin to become the next sect leader of the immortal sect. As for this, Jun Dongjin had little interest. Since his century-long stay at Vast Cliff Mountain, Jun Dongjin had seen through the so-called struggle for power. He liked the environment of Bayou Island, so he declined Mu Qinglu's invitation. Finally, through final discussions, Jun Xiaoyao was appointed the next sect leader of the immortal sect. Jun Xiaoyao is Jun Wuji's older brother, closely related by blood, meeting the requirements that Songqing Immortal had for the next generation's sect leader of the immortal sect. In the far west, this place was more remote than the barbarian wilderness, with almost no spiritual energy, hence it was rarely visited by people, and even vitality-resilient demonic beasts rarely settled in this area.
Now,
on a large rock, a figure indeed lay there. 7th rank. Did not expect there to be world suppression? Lin Yuan felt somewhat helpless in his heart. Decades ago, he had been very close to the 7th rank, but when he tried to break through, he could indeed feel the suppression from nature. No wonder hundreds of thousands of years ago, there were many great beings who surpassed the void refinement limit, but there wasn't a single one in the Tao integration stage. Until the ascension platform appeared, those great beings who ascended to the spirit realm gradually stepped into the Tao integration stage. Lin Yuan sighed. What to do? I don't want to enter the spirit realm through the ascension platform. Lin Yuan fell deep in thought. Not knowing what lay on the other side of the ascension platform, Lin Yuan did not want to take risks with his life. Besides, even if he wanted to enter the spirit realm, Lin Yuan would use the door to the Myriad Realms, entering the spirit realm through a descent of consciousness. This method would allow perfect integration into the spirit realm without being deliberately targeted. The so-called world suppression is not absolutely insurmountable to break through to the 7th rank. Lin Yuan thought to himself. Over the past decades, he had been trying to figure out a method to evade world suppression, and now he had some clues. Take it slow. There's still more than 100 years left. Lin Yuan wasn't in a hurry. As long as he broke through to the 7th rank within the time limit of his stay, it would be sufficient. Time slowly passed. 100 years went by once again. At the edge of the East Sea, the area was still an endless ocean. In theory, no one should come here. After all, there is little spiritual energy and cultivators wouldn't even glance at it. And ordinary people? They couldn't even reach this place. Above the ocean, tsunamis, giant beasts, and many other threats are simply insurmountable for ordinary people. But at this moment, a small boat was drifting on the calm sea surface. An inexplicable energy from within the boat began to spread to all directions. All credit goes to the original author. Enjoyed this story? Subscribe for daily uploads and more amazing content. Have a novel you want us to cover? Leave your requests in the comments. If you're the author and wish for this video to be removed or modified, please contact us at fableversodio@gmail.com. Comprehension Ability. Creating and teaching the Tao in various worlds. Chapter 22. Return. Subscription request.
Tao de Immortal Sect.
Sect Master Mu Qinglu stood at the highest point. The current Taoed Immortal Sect. Mu Qinglu silently gazed at the numerous disciples below him. Ever since martial Tao cultivators had been accepted, the sect's disciples had become visibly more relaxed. After all, the entity supporting the martial Tao cultivation system was terrifying. Many disciples were unaware of Lin Yuan's current strength. Just over 300 years ago, Lin Yuan split his being into three and together had nearly brought Mount Morality Immortal to collapse. That horrific scene still haunted many of the sect's disciples.
And now,
the Immortal Path and Martial Tao were in a state of semi-fusion, and Wuji's older brother, Jun Xiaoyao, was now being groomed as the future sect master. A silver lining in misfortune.
Mu Qinglu sighed.
In this moment and scene, it was far better than having enraged Wuji, with both sides standing completely opposed. At least, Mu Qinglu didn't dare imagine what that outcome would be like. But why hasn't Wuji come over yet? The ascension platform is always ready. Mu Qinglu was puzzled. Logically speaking, 200 years ago, Wuji's strength had already reached the world's upper limit. According to the ancestral masters of the spirit realm, under the world's suppression in Central Divine Continent, one could only endlessly approach the Unity Path stage. As for stepping into the Unity Path stage, there was basically no chance. This had nothing to do with talent, but with the restrictions of heaven and earth. As Mu Qinglu puzzled over this, a deep, ancient aura emanated from the end of the East Sea. What is this?
Mukin gliwes pupils nerod.
This aura, while not comparable to that which Lin Yuan broke through 200 years ago, triggering a response from even middling strength cultivators between heaven and earth, yet, at this moment, Mu Qinglu felt his soul trembling. It was as though the source of this breath was an existence that stood shoulder to shoulder with the entire cosmos. Is it Wuji? Mu Qinglu steadied his spirit and immediately rushed to the deepest part of Immortal Mountain, inside the secret realm where the Ascension platform was placed. Mu Qinglu unhesitatingly activated the Ascension platform and contacted the ancestral masters of the spirit realm. What is the matter exactly? Does the old man need to pay a price just to come down here? A slightly irritable voice transmitted, clearly not that of the previous Songqing Immortal. As the strongest individual of the Dao Immortal sect in the spirit realm, with cultivation at the late stages of Dao integration, Songqing Immortal mostly spent his time in secluded cultivation. Only when the continents of the Divine Continent were at a life-or-death juncture would he be informed. After settling the arrangement with Lin Yuan, the Dao Immortal sect essentially had no worries of destruction, which is why Songqing Immortal no longer continued his supervision. According to Songqing Immortal's instructions, the next time he was to be contacted would be when Wuji ascended to the spirit realm. It's Xinyan ancestor? Mu Qingliu's heart trembled again. Among the many immortal ancestors in the Dao Immortal sect, Xinyan ancestor was known for his fiery temperament, and historically, sect leaders feared dealing with him. After all, a careless mistake could result in punishment from Xinyan ancestor. Though the punishments wouldn't harm the foundation, since they were all descendants of the sect, it would definitely be a bitter experience. Ancestor, it's concerning Wuji? Mu Qinglu immediately said. Wuji. Xinyan ancestor frowned. The junior that Songqing favors? Although not as powerful as Songqing, Xinyan ancestor was very close, and 200 years ago, Songqing Immortal had gathered them together to discuss Wuji and even proclaimed his own Dao oath. Xinyan ancestor was somewhat in disagreement. He didn't believe that a mere junior from the lower realms of Central Divine Continent could potentially ascend to Immortal King. That was an Immortal King. Xinyan ancestor wasn't questioning Songqing Immortal's judgment. He just felt that perhaps Songqing Immortal might have overlooked something. That Wuji was not the kind of talent he imagined, who could simply step into the Unity Path stage as easily as eating or drinking water once he ascended to the spirit realm, and possibly reach the realm of an Immortal King. Forget the Immortal King. Even in the spirit realm, which was the dominion of giants, how easy could it be to step into the Unity Path stage, also known as the Immortal Realm? Xinyan ancestor was skeptical. Xinyan ancestor was about to speak, questioning precisely what was happening with Wuji, when he too sensed that ancient aura emanating from the end of the East Sea. Is this god merging with the cosmos, someone stepping into the Unity Path stage? Xinyan ancestor's eyes widened. Unity Path stage immortals are considered powerful even in the spirit realm, belonging to the ruling class. Xinyan ancestor had sensed many refined void cultivators' auras when they stepped into the Unity Path stage. Thus, he was very familiar with such an aura. If it were in the spirit realm, Xinyan ancestor wouldn't find anything unusual. The spirit realm is vast, with a higher world limit, making it perfectly normal for a new Unity Path stage immortal to emerge. But what place is this? It's the lower realms. It's Central Divine Continent. Tens of thousands of years ago, those of them who had surpassed the void refinement limit had already determined that no Unity Path stage could be born in this realm. One could only endlessly approach it. Is that Wuji? Xinyan ancestor turned his head, staring at Mu Qinglu. It should be, Mu Qinglu nodded. This deep and ancient aura had traces of Wuji's aura from before. And within this realm, who else but Wuji could unleash such an aura? Monster. Junyan ancestor swallowed hard. This was stepping into the Unity Path stage? He had himself ascended to the spirit realm in his time, expending countless heart forces just to advance to the Unity Path stage, yet a junior from later generations had achieved this so effortlessly. And moreover, in Central Divine Continent, where theoretically it was impossible to give birth to a Unity Path stage in this lower realm. Such talent. Could it be that old guy, Songqing, underestimated him? All credit goes to the original author. Enjoyed this story? Subscribe for daily uploads and more amazing content. Have a novel you want us to cover? Leave your requests in the comments. If you are the author and wish for this video to be removed or modified, please contact us at fableversodio@gmail.com. Comprehension Ability. Creating and teaching the Tao in various worlds. Chapter 22 returns subscription request _2. Junyan ancestors' thoughts surged. Below the spirit realm, there are a million lower realms, just like the central divine China world. But since ancient times, no lower realm had ever produced a cultivator who ascended during the Tao integration period. This was too inconceivable. Ancestor, what should we do now? Mu Qinglu asked in a low voice. What should we do? Junyan ancestor glanced at Mu Qinglu. What else can we do? If it had been before Lin Yuan had broken through to the Tao integration period, Junyan ancestor still had confidence that, with this projection, he could manage wrist to wrist with him. But now? The opponent's strength almost caught up to his own true self in the spirit realm. What wrist was there to manage? Wasn't that just humiliating oneself? However, breaking through to the Tao integration period enables one to survive in the chaotic void flows. Central Divine China world, being a lower realm under the spirit realm, merely requires breaking through this realm. With the strength of the Tao integration period, one can completely follow the chaotic void flows and enter the spirit realm. Junyan ancestor quietly thought to himself. Ancient saints of the nether refinement period don't have the ability to survive in the chaotic void flows, so if they desire to enter the spirit realm, they must pass through the ascension platform and ascend via a stable spatial channel. But for those at the Tao integration stage, this isn't really necessary. With the strength of a Tao integration stage immortal, one can actively travel to the spirit realm. The spirit realm is situated above the world of Central Divine China, and Tao integration stage immortals can easily sense the aura of the spirit realm. This is the 7th rank. At the ends of the East Sea, on the tranquil surface of the sea, a smile appeared on Lin Yuan's face. At this moment, his aura was subdued, but he could easily tear open spatial rifts. The suppression of heaven and earth, it's just like that. Lin Yuan's mind was delighted. This world suppressed the breakthrough from refined void to Tao integration. That is, from the 6th rank to the 7th rank. Even the strongest individuals could only come infinitely close to the Tao integration stage. But with Lin Yuan's against heaven's understanding, he soon thought of a method to step into the Tao integration stage. That was to separate his true self from the Yin spirit and Yang spirit. True self, Yin spirit, and Yang spirit all cultivate to infinitesimally close to the Tao integration period. Then the three recombine, and their powers merge and stack. Quantitative changes cause qualitative changes, ultimately forcing a breakthrough into the 7th rank. Such a wonderful feeling. Lin Yuan closed his eyes, sinking into some deep immersion. After stepping into the 7th rank, Lin Yuan's realm rose higher, and his perception of everything far surpassed that of the 6th rank. The same leaf viewed while at the 6th rank and the 7th rank brings very different experiences, not to mention all things under heaven and earth. Against heaven's understanding is also like this, depending on the height of Lin Yuan's standing. Had Lin Yuan been just a common person, the most he could have devised would have been martial Tao skills of the 1st or 2nd rank. But now, Lin Yuan was equivalent to an immortal of the spirit realm, and the essence of all things in the world was slowly unfolding before him. Continuing to immerse for a moment, Lin Yuan opened his eyes. This time I chose to break through to the 7th rank, leaning towards a mortal path. Lin Yuan thought to himself. The Taoist immortal scripture had been of great help to him, providing 4 additional 7th-rank directions, all affected by the immortal cultivation system. Indeed, it's not the 7th rank I desired. After stepping into the 7th rank and sensing many fine details, Lin Yuan shook his head slightly. If it were other path-opening powerhouses, they would now only be able to grit their teeth and continue cultivating forward, even if dissatisfied. What could they do? Once truly stepping into this realm, both physical body and soul would transform towards this direction, with no way back. But for Lin Yuan, he had the means to return to the main world, able to abandon everything about traversing worlds and return to his own body, bringing back only memories and realm. In the past, this approach was more disadvantages than advantages. After all, laboriously cultivating and traversing worlds for decades or even centuries, only to not bring back any strength? But now, this was Lin Yuan's biggest confidence in exploring the paths of the 7th rank. As long as the path is right, the direction is right, what is power? The main world isn't lacking in treasures that accumulate power. After all, having more power also requires the ability to wield it. Temporarily, not continuing the cultivation beyond the 7th rank, fully comprehend the paths from the 6th to the 7th rank. Lin Yuan stopped perceiving. The direction he now stood on wasn't one he was satisfied with. Continuing to cultivate and explore was meaningless. However, Lin Yuan seemed to think of something, raised his right hand, and lightly swiped at the air in front of him. Crack! A tear was ripped open, revealing the gray and turbid chaotic void flows inside. Breaking the void, a hint of unusual color appeared on Lin Yuan's face. With my current strength, I could actually survive in the chaotic void flows. Lin Yuan pondered for a moment, then stretched his hand into the spatial rift. Soon he pulled it back and found that there weren't any injuries on his arm. The aura of the spirit realm. Lin Yuan continued to sense the spatial rift he had torn open. At immeasurable heights, a vast world like a grand sun released boundless aura. Lin Yuan, having seen the ascension platform through the spirit realm, confirmed that this aura matched that of the ascension platform. Still 40 years of residency time. Lin Yuan glanced at the ethereal font displayed below. Bayou Island. 200 years had passed. Most of the White Jade Pavilion had already relocated to the central divine continent, where the cultivation environment was much more superior, including the 72 heavenly caves and 108 blessed lands. Now, the number of White Jade Pavilion disciples remaining on Bayou Island wasn't large. In the core area of Bayou Island, Lin Yuan's figure appeared. Wuji, how have you come back? Mu Lianer was sitting there chatting with Jun Dongjin when she suddenly saw Lin Yuan and immediately stood up. Wuji. Jun Dongjin also stood up, looking at Lin Yuan, his tone somewhat emotional. He had never expected that his youngest son would achieve such great feats, even making the ancestral masters of the spirit realm from the Tao to mortal sect yield. I just came back to see. Lin Yuan nodded. This would probably be his last visit to Bayou Island. With only 40 years left to stay, his plan for the first 10 years was to continue traveling the world, and afterwards, he planned to attempt leaving this realm to explore the chaotic void beyond the realms. During his time in the Divine Arms world, Lin Yuan had faced spatial rifts, and even with his against heaven's understanding, his comprehension was not very good. But now being at the 7th rank, his perspective on the chaotic void within the spatial rifts had many flashes of spiritual light. This was the difference brought about by varying strengths and the heights from which they stood. Afterward, Lin Yuan chatted with his parents for a while. Wuji. Mu Lianer felt vaguely sad, sensing that the number of times she would see Wuji may not be many. These are 2 sets of resources for breakthrough to the refined void period. With a thought from Lin Yuan, 2 storage rings appeared in front of him. Over the years, Lin Yuan had traveled the world, reaching the heavens and plumbing the depths, naturally finding quite a few treasures. Those treasures and resources were of no use to Lin Yuan anymore but had been collected, and now was the perfect time to give them to his parents. With these resources, breaking through to the refined void period should be no problem. Then, Mom and Dad, You can use the ascension platform of the Tao Immortal sect to enter the spirit realm. Lin Yuan spoke. His eldest brother, Jun Xiaoyao, was already being groomed as the next sect master of the Tao Immortal sect, and his breakthrough to the refined void period should be no problem. And for his second sister, Lin Yuan had also left a set of resources for her to break through to the refined void period. This was the last thing Lin Yuan could do. Wuji. Jun Dongjin wanted to say something but hesitated. He always felt that his youngest son was preparing for his later affairs. But with Wuji's strength, who could make him prepare for such matters? Wuji, are you preparing to ascend to the spirit realm?
Yun Dongjin tentatively asked.
Somewhat. Lin Yuan nodded. His ascension was not meant for the spirit realm, but rather for the even vaster main world. Time passed. Another decade went by. The northernmost peak. Lin Yuan sat cross-legged. I've wandered around a few more times. There's nothing left to see. Lin Yuan lifted his right hand and gently swept through the air in front of him.
Slit.
A several-meter-long spatial rift appeared. Lin Yuan gazed into the spatial rift. Your understanding is against heaven, observing the chaotic void, deepening your comprehension of the essence of space. Your understanding is against heaven, observing the chaotic void, deepening your comprehension of the essence of space. Your understanding is against heaven, observing the chaotic void, continuing to refine the martial arts evolution system. Outside the central divine China world, Lin Yuan's figure appeared. The terrifying chaotic void streams, upon reaching within several meters of Lin Yuan, all dissipated. So this is space? Violent, sharp, destroying everything? Lin Yuan felt somewhat shocked. Within the world, space is stable, orderly, and capable of nurturing abundant life. But outside of the world, space is filled with extreme destructive power. This contrast between what was before and after deepened Lin Yuan's understanding of the power of space.
Just like that,
Lin Yuan drifted alone within the chaotic void outside of the world. Until 30 years later. Deep within his mind, the door to the Myriad Realms shone brightly. All credit goes to the original author. Enjoyed the story? Subscribe for daily uploads and more amazing content. Have a novel you want us to cover? Leave your requests in the comments. If you are the author and wish for this video to be removed or modified, please contact us at fableversodio@gmail.com. Comprehension Ability. Creating and teaching the Tao in various worlds. Chapter 1. Gains Upload. The conclusion of the Heiyu family. Please subscribe. Chikuan Main Star. Deep within the 13 peaks, in the palace, Lin Yuan slowly opened his eyes. Finally back. Looking around at the familiar scene, Lin Yuan let out a sigh of relief. The 500 years in the Central Earth world had a significant impact on Lin Yuan, especially the last step into the 7th rank realm, even if it wasn't the 7th rank that Lin Yuan desired. But it let Lin Yuan witness scenes he had never been able to access before. The higher one stands, the farther and wider one sees. I hope this backup plan will never be needed, Lin Yuan thought to himself. Before leaving, Lin Yuan had made a special trip back to the Central Divine Continent and had carefully placed his physical body in a secret location. Only then did his consciousness return. The purpose of this action was to ensure that if he ever returned to the Central Earth world one day, he could directly take over the body he had left behind and grasp the world's strongest power at the fastest speed. After breaking through to the 6th rank, more functions of the door to the Myriad Realms appeared, including the ability to return to worlds he had previously traversed. But even if he were to return, Lin Yuan would choose consciousness descent, because to move the physical body is both risky and consumes more world-breaking origin force. With consciousness descent, one can only start from the beginning of cultivation. Regardless of how high one's realm is, it will require time to progress step by step. But with his body left behind, everything becomes simple. One merely needs to detach the consciousness, enter the body, and then regain the strongest power in the Central Earth world. Of course, although he had left this backup plan, Lin Yuan did not wish for it to be used, because that would mean Something unpredictable had happened in the central Earth world, posing a danger that could overturn the martial Tao cultivation system. Descending again into the central Earth world requires the expenditure of 10 strands of world-breaking origin force. Unless absolutely necessary, Lin Yuan wouldn't choose to do this. The spirit realm? Lin Yuan's expression fell into brief contemplation. In the last 30 years of his stay, Lin Yuan roamed alone in the space-time chaos outside the world, and had also gazed at the enormous spirit realm located above from a distance. It was an entity far surpassing the central Earth world, and the myriad auras it emitted fell like radiation, firmly locking down millions of lower realms, including the central Earth world. It's a pity, ascending directly to the spirit realm is still too risky. There's no need to do that. Lin Yuan thought to himself. The spirit realm's world hierarchy is very high, this is unquestionable. Where there are beings comparable to the 8th layer of the main world, immortal king-level powerhouses, and even existences beyond the immortal king level. If Lin Yuan were to enter the spirit realm as a Tao integration stage ascender, he would certainly attract a lot of attention. In such a situation, even if Lin Yuan were only a consciousness descent, unafraid of death, he could not guarantee absolute safety. In front of those true powerhouses, even if Lin Yuan wanted to die, it wouldn't necessarily be possible. He could be subjected to soul search and risk exposing information about the main world. Furthermore, the reason Lin Yuan hadn't entered the spirit realm through the Ascension platform was virtually the same. The Azure ancestor from the Tao Immortal sect, although bound by a Tao oath in front of him, would still be a cause for concern should Lin Yuan truly ascend to the spirit realm and fall into the hands of those Tao integration immortals. Unforeseen incidents could occur. Lin Yuan has never allowed himself to be in a passive position. Lin Yuan immediately observed intently. Within the Red Kuan lineage's cultivation treasury, there was a detailed explanation on the 965 space models. There were even specific space class evolvers who voluntarily demonstrated the models. However, space is changing every moment, always fluctuating, and past space models might not be applicable to current space fluctuations. Thus, the space model Chikuan Star Lord currently condensed belong to the model most attuned to the present universal space rules, naturally providing greater inspiration to Lin Yuan. Your understanding defies heaven. Observing unknown space models deepens your comprehension of space rules. Your understanding defies heaven. Observing unknown space models deepens your comprehension of space rules. Your understanding defies heaven. Observing unknown space models deepens your comprehension of space rules. Lin Yuan's mind was bursting with spiritual light, countless insights about the power of space, which he had accumulated during the decades of wandering outside the central Earth world, watching the chaos of the void, all erupted forth. In front of Lin Yuan, hundreds of space models simultaneously collapsed. Threads of space power rapidly intertwined and collided. They actually formed a new space model. This space model, slowly changing with the space fluctuations, turned out to be consistent with the space model in front of Chikuan Star Lord. So that's how it is. A smile appeared on Lin Yuan's face. This kind of space model had puzzled Lin Yuan for nearly a month. Now, with Chikuan Star Lord's guidance, he finally comprehended it thoroughly. You figured it out just like that? Above the high seat, Chikuan Star Lord was dumbfounded. He had only demonstrated once, and Lin Yuan had learned it? Chikuan Star Lord had just been about to explain a few things, such as reminders for Lin Yuan about how to begin comprehending this type of model. But the result? It was as if a teacher was explaining a problem in class. He had just written out the answer, ready to explain the process and thinking behind it. However, the students below had already learned it, even extrapolating from it. Thank you, teacher. Lin Yuan was in a good mood and immediately thanked Chikuan Star Lord. If not for Chikuan Star Lord, with his against heaven's understanding, Lin Yuan would have ultimately comprehended it, but it definitely would have taken much more time. It's no trouble at all. Chikuan Star Lord waved his hand. Logically, the gratitude from a genius like Lin Yuan should have made him feel quite accomplished. But Shikuan Star-Lord didn't know why he felt somewhat off. He always felt that something was wrong. Teacher, could you demonstrate the remaining 100 space models? Lin Yuan seemed to have remembered something and asked a bit sheepishly. Demonstrate them all together? Shikuan Star-Lord was silent for a while, unable to help asking. The 965 space models, involving the essence of space rules. Each model required evolvers to expend great costs and effort to comprehend. All credit goes to the original author. Enjoyed this story? Subscribe for daily uploads and more amazing content. Have a novel you want us to cover? Leave your requests in the comments. If you are the author and wish for this video to be removed or modified, please contact us at fableversodio@gmail.com. Comprehension Ability. Creating and teaching the Tao in various worlds. Chapter 3. Oh no, am I going to be surpassed by my disciple? Please subscribe. 2. Lin Yuan now made him demonstrate all the subsequent models in one go. That was equivalent to a grade school student telling his teacher to bring out the middle school, high school, and university curriculums. No problem. The Chikuan Star-Lord nodded. If it were any other disciple, the Chikuan Star-Lord would definitely have rebuked them for their arrogance and told them to focus on the task at hand before anything else. But Lin Yuan, thinking of how quickly Lin Yuan had grasped the spatial model just now, the Chikuan Star-Lord felt it was best just to follow along and do as asked. One spatial model after another continuously condensed in front of the Chikuan Star-Lord. Lin Yuan carefully observed each spatial model. Although he couldn't grasp them instantly, having the Chikuan Star-Lord's demonstrations meant that Lin Yuan's future comprehension speed would definitely exceed his previous one. About half a day later, a satisfied expression appeared on Lin Yuan's face. The Chikuan Star-Lord, on the other hand, stopped the demonstration of spatial models with a complex look on his face.
Thank you, teacher.
The disciple has now grasped the subsequent spatial models. Lin Yuan sincerely thanked him. The Chikuan Star-Lord nodded. In fact, during this half-day, he hadn't spoken a word, just demonstrated various spatial models one by one. He was completely acting like a tool. Seeing Lin Yuan's fully content expression, the Chikuan Star-Lord felt a sense of unreality. Was teaching a disciple really this easy? He was already adept at instructing disciples and knew full well that teaching them properly was a very strenuous task. Teacher, regarding the next 7,782 spatial models. Lin Yuan thought for a moment, planning to fully utilize this opportunity of being instructed. The 965 spatial models that Lin Yuan had currently comprehended were just scratching the surface essence of the space rules. Understanding these 965 spatial models meant just entering the space rules. But beyond the beginner level, one still needed to comprehend more of the space's essential rules. Therefore, after the 965 spatial models, there were still 7,782 spatial models. The subsequent models, it's hard for outsiders to instruct, and one must rely on self-comprehension. The Chikuan Star-Lord spoke evenly, feeling extremely helpless inside. Even he hadn't fully comprehended the 7,782 spatial models, and the Chikuan Star-Lord vaguely felt drained by Lin Yuan. Besides, even if he had comprehended those 7,782 spatial models, he would not be able to demonstrate. When it came to space rules, the superficial essence could be shown, but the deeper rule essences, even for the same spatial model. The focus differed for different evolvers who had comprehended it. Okay. Lin Yuan nodded. He was becoming somewhat impatient. As space rules were foundational laws of the main world, vast and endless, the aspects of space rules comprehended by others might not necessarily suit Lin Yuan. If you truly want to comprehend the complete space rules, you could visit the battlefields of different races. The Chikuan Star-Lord suggested. Battlefields of different races? Lin Yuan was aware of such places, where the human race engaged in combat with deep space other species. In the battlefields of different races, numerous strong ones fight, and even supreme beings intervene, rendering the space unstable, and there even exist permanent spatial rifts. The Chikuan Star-Lord spoke with a sigh. Supreme beings? Lin Yuan's expression grew solemn. Within the Cosmic Human Alliance, there were 9 supreme beings. Each supreme being guarded one evolution tower, illuminating the timeless cosmic starry skies. Even across the vast cosmic starry skies, supreme beings were the ceiling of combat power unparalleled. Only conflicts between supreme beings could create permanent spatial rifts. Otherwise, given the self-healing ability of the main world universe starry sky, even large spatial rifts would gradually heal. Over more than 2 million years of the Starry Sea era, human civilization had expanded rapidly, severely beating different species, primarily because of the numerical superiority of supreme beings. Even the peak clans like the war machine insect race, with only 6 supreme beings, held the advantage on middle and lower tier battlefields. However, they found themselves at a disadvantage when it came to clashes between supreme beings. Our universe, where we reside, has stable spaces and subdued rule fluctuations, which makes comprehending space rules very difficult. However, in the battlefields of different races, space isn't that stable, especially those that are torn with permanent spatial rifts, where endless space powers permeate, which is quite beneficial for comprehending space rules. Chikuan Star Lord said, "The battlefields of different races are like a meat grinder for countless clans of the universe, filled with dangers, but also numerous opportunities. It's easier to sense the space rules, but that's just one aspect. There are others. For example, certain heritages, many treasures. Many strong ones of different species fight to the death, leaving treasures scattered in hidden locations, their corpses even buried underground. The corpses of the strong ones from different species also hold great value. Furthermore, the permanent spatial rifts on the battlefield of different species sometimes welcome guests from beyond the realm. If you can seize the opportunity, you can gain quite a few benefits. However, if you, my disciple, wish to go to the battlefield of different species, you must not go in person. Send an avatar there instead." Chikuan Star Lord instructed. For a talent like Lin Yuan, going in person to the battlefield of different species is like a feast for those different species. If Lin Yuan hides within human territories, within Chikuan Main Star, if the different species want to assassinate Lin Yuan, they would have to pay a huge price, and afterwards, Lin Yuan would be resurrected. But on the battlefield of different species? The moment the information of Lin Yuan appearing there is leaked, believe it or not, there will be a bunch of 7th rank, 8th rank strong ones from different species lying in wait. After all, on the battlefield, killing Lin Yuan would not require any consequences. Even if he were to be resurrected later, it wouldn't matter. I understand. Lin Yuan nodded. Even traveling to other worlds through the door to the Myriad Realms, he did it through the ensured method of consciousness descent. Not to mention going to the perilous battlefield of different species. There are over 10 doppelganger skills in the treasury. You can choose one when the time comes. You are now 6th rank and can withstand the soul division involved in creating an avatar. Chikuan Star Lord said. In the main world, crafting an avatar involves much less cost than in the immortal Tao world. Still, it requires a portion of the soul's power to be split and infused into the avatar. Without a soul, an avatar is no different from a puppet. Just splitting a part of the soul, those below the 6th rank of evolvers simply cannot do it, and even if they could, it would result in a great loss of origin source and potential. My martial Tao primordial spirit, Yin spirit and Yang spirit. Lin Yuan subconsciously compared his Yin spirit and Yang spirit with the traditional avatar techniques of the main world. In the end, he concluded, the martial Tao primordial spirit should be superior to most avatar techniques. At the very least, it does not require Lin Yuan to actively split his soul. Yin spirit and Yang spirit share one consciousness, with Lin Yuan's true self, a trinity. It's said that deep in the cosmic starry skies, some rare special life forms naturally possess the doppelganger talent. Most of the avatar techniques of human civilization are derived from those naturally gifted with doppelganger. Lin Yuan thought to himself. Those doppelganger talents were indeed similar to his martial Tao primordial spirit, sharing consciousness without the need for soul splitting. Next, Qikuan Star-Lord gave Lin Yuan a few more words of advice. Essentially, even if you craft an avatar to go to the battlefield of different species, it's best not to reveal your identity. And don't try to kill those from different species. There's no need. If the avatar were to fall on the battlefield, it would also affect Lin Yuan's true body. The Crimson Palace. Qikuan Star-Lord watched Lin Yuan leave. In terms of understanding space rules, except for the eldest disciple, no one else should be able to surpass him now, should they? Qikuan Star-Lord quietly thought to himself. Having grasped over 800 kinds of spatial models, only his eldest disciple could barely outdo him. As for the second and third disciples, they were at best on par, or even slightly weaker. The later disciples, such as the fourth and fifth, not to mention, weren't even seventh rank. This talent. Qikuan Star-Lord sighed. In Lin Yuan, Qikuan Star-Lord felt as though he had grown old, unable to keep up with the times. In such a short period of time, Lin Yuan had grown from initially being the weakest among the 13 peak masters at 4th rank to now being second only to the great peak master. Qikuan Star-Lord could foresee that, given Lin Yuan's current speed of cultivation and enlightenment, surpassing the great peak master was only a matter of time. Not right. Qikuan Star-Lord suddenly tensed in his heart. Damn, he wouldn't also be surpassed by his own disciple, would he? All credit goes to the original author. Enjoyed this story? Subscribe for daily uploads and more amazing content. Have a novel you want us to cover? Leave your requests in the comments. If you're the author and wish for this video to be removed or modified, please contact us at fableversodio@gmail.com. Comprehension Ability. Creating and teaching the Tao in various worlds. Chapter 4, the second physical body divine ability. Please subscribe. I must be overthinking it. Even if my obedient disciple has just begun to grasp space rules and stepped into the 7th rank with ease. But breaking from the 7th rank to the 8th rank, it's not so simple. The Qikuan Star-Lord comforted himself. Given his countless opportunities, and even after he had seized a starry sky wanderer Kuan juvenile, entering the 8th layer was still extremely difficult. Even if Lin Yuan's talent exceeded his back then, facing the barrier of the 8th layer, he couldn't just step over it, right? Sometimes, having a disciple that's too monstrously talented makes being a master somewhat meaningless. The Qikuan Star-Lord sighed. Inside the Palace of the 13 Peaks, the red spirit fluid has arrived. Lin Yuan looked at a small kettle in front of him. The small kettle was a space storage treasure. It appeared to be the size of a palm, but in reality, it contained a small pool's worth of red spirit fluid. Let's begin. Lin Yuan pulled the stopper out of the small kettle. Though he had not yet decided on the content of the 6th rank chapter of the Martial Path Evolutionary Path, he had already finalized his plan for the 6th rank. With the red spirit fluid in the kettle, Lin Yuan would be able to reach the limit of the 6th rank in a short amount of time. I wonder what kind of physical body divine ability will be born this time. An expectant look crossed Lin Yuan's face. In the immortal Tao world, the divine abilities of the fleshly body from the body cultivation lineage depended on the peculiar powers contained deep within one's bloodline. When Lin Yuan established the 6th rank chapter of the Martial Path Evolutionary Path, he had borrowed from the body cultivation lineage, particularly in terms of digging deeper into the physical body. So, theoretically, the 6th rank chapter should also be able to give birth to physical body divine abilities. As Lin Yuan retraced the steps of the 6th rank, the differences in his fleshly body would lead to the final physical body divine ability being different. Gurgle. Lin Yuan picked up the small kettle and swallowed all the red spirit fluid. As soon as the fluid slid down his throat, it turned into pure energy that nourished his limbs and extremities. Several days later, Lin Yuan abruptly opened his eyes. I've reached the pinnacle of the 6th rank. Lin Yuan dared not break through any further. Now, if he wished, he could quickly step into the 7th rank. But he wasn't very satisfied with that kind of 7th rank. It didn't complement the first 5 stages of the Martial Path Evolutionary Path very well. The 7th rank chapter of the Martial Path Evolutionary Path should have enough comprehension of space rules, at least a beginner's grasp of them. Lin Yuan thought to himself. The deeper he contemplated space rules, the deeper his understanding became. The essence of the martial path evolutionary path was to use the Tao of Taiji as the core to contain all Tao and thereby control all Tao. Incorporating his own understanding and insights of Tao into it would then perfect the Tao of Taiji and use it to control all Tao. Lin Yuan felt that for him, the most complete path for the 7th rank chapter of the martial path evolutionary path was to integrate space rules. Of course, this was only in regard to Lin Yuan himself. Other evolvers didn't need to integrate space rules specifically. Any other rules could work as well. It depends on what each individual excels at. Entering the realm of space rules is incredibly difficult, and only a 7th rank evolver would be confident in mastering it. However, the threshold for entering other rules is much lower. For example, in the 7 Stars Cave trial world, that red pattern examiner's brute strength was a beginner's grasp of the rule of power. To grasp the rule of power at the 4th rank was indeed genius. It showed that it could be done. Other martial arts evolvers just need to grasp a certain rule that suits them at the zenith of the 6th rank in order to have a chance to step into the 7th rank. The physical body divine ability is being nurtured. Lin Yuan keenly felt the changes in his body. He noticed that, deep within his bloodline, a peculiar force was awakening and converging. This was very similar to the first time he had developed a physical body divine ability in the immortal Tao world. It should take another day or two. Lin Yuan estimated in his mind. The birth of a physical body divine ability doesn't happen instantly. It needs time to be nurtured. Based on the current pace of nurturing, Lin Yuan felt that in 1 or 2 days, the physical body divine ability would probably be born. Fong Qing is looking for me? Lin Yuan scanned the visitor records and discovered that Fong Qing wanted to see him. Virtual world. Personal space. Lin Yuan and Fong Qing sat facing each other. No need to be formal, just act as before, Lin Yuan casually said, noting Fong Qing's nervousness. He had a close friendship with Fong Qing, who had helped him since the 7-Star Cave trials by providing information. Later, when Lin Yuan was subjected to the public scorn by the hundreds of billions of citizens on Kanglin Star because of the Heiyu family's oppression, it was Fong Qing who had stood up for him, going so far as to offer numerous favors to rebuild trade relations for Kanglin Star. Though, in truth, the Heiyu family could only do so much back then, and the external public opinion had not affected Lin Yuan at all. But Fong Qing truly wanted to help him. Brother Lin, you say it so lightly, just as before? Fong Qing relaxed a bit and managed to smile, saying, but your status now, you're a peak master of the Red Kun lineage. Although Fong Qing said this, his heart settled down. At this moment, he was extremely grateful that he had fully supported Lin Yuan through his difficulties in the past. Otherwise, with Lin Yuan's current status, Fong Qing might not even be able to see him. As far as Fong Qing knew, since Lin Yuan's arrival at the Qikuan main star, he had hardly met with any outsiders. How have you been recently? Lin Yuan asked casually. Not bad. Fong Qing said softly. Many people, aware of my relationship with Brother Lin, want to get close to me, hoping to use me to reach out to Brother Lin. When Kanglin Star faced suppression from the Heiyu family, Fong Qing had stood up for his friend. Subsequently, this friend transformed into the peak master of the Qikuan Star domain. The person whose status changed the most in between, apart from Lin Yuan and his family, was... All credit goes to the original author. Enjoyed this story? Subscribe for daily uploads and more amazing content. Have a novel you want us to cover? Leave your requests in the comments. If you are the author and wish for this video to be removed or modified, please contact us at fableversodio@gmail.com. Comprehension Ability. Creating and teaching the Tao in various worlds. Chapter 4. The Second Physical Body Divine Ability. Seeking subscriptions, _2. It belonged to Fong Qing. After all, who didn't know that Fong Qing had stepped forward to help when Shi-san, the peak master, was hiding his identity? No matter what. In the Qikuan lineage, Fong Qing was already considered a person of the Shi-san peak master. Even those core members of the Qikuan lineage treated Fong Qing with utmost respect. Ha ha ha. Lin Yuan laughed out loud. Before Lin Yuan had revealed his identity, there were people who went to great lengths to get in touch with Feng Qing through him. Now, there were also people who were scheming hard to get close to him through Feng Qing. The drastic change from then to now made Lin Yuan quite reflective. Shirshan Peak is just established. Would you like to come help me? Lin Yuan chatted with Feng Qing for a while before mentioning this casually. Everyone knew that joining Shirshan Peak now was the same as being among the first to pledge allegiance to the Shirshan Peak Master, and in the future, they would all be considered senior members. Thank you, Big Brother Lin. Upon hearing this, Feng Qing immediately stood up and bowed respectfully. The weight of Lin Yuan's words was no different from giving Feng Qing an opportunity to rise to the heavens in one step within the Qikuan lineage. What could be more honorable than becoming a confidant, or even a direct subordinate, under the Peak Master? After chatting with Lin Yuan, Feng Qing returned to his personal space. Feng lad. What did I tell you before? Your big brother Lin is destined for boundless prospects. The old man with a white beard said proudly. As an intelligent life form, the old man with a white beard didn't have much strength, but his insight was extremely sharp. From now on, just follow behind your big brother Lin and devote yourself to serving him well. Don't think about managing anything else, understand? The white-bearded old man reminded him. He was fully aware that cultivation fanatics like Lin Yuan generally wouldn't bother with too many things. But if Feng Qing tried to take advantage of this to gain something for himself, it would be a huge mistake. I understand. Feng Qing nodded. As one of the first members to join Shirshan Peak, it was not difficult for Feng Qing to be promoted to a core member of the Qikuan lineage. With such a great opportunity, if Feng Qing still thought about other benefits, he truly would be unworthy of Big Brother Lin's trust. Cultivate well. Your current head start has already far surpassed that of the old master. The old man with a white beard's voice suddenly became somber. His old master, the 6th-rank fallen star warrior, had some renown in the Qikuan star domain and the surrounding star domains. But how could that compare to Feng Qing now? Being under a big tree provides good shade, and even more so with Shirshan Peak Master, who is like a towering tree. Virtual world. Personal space. Lin Yuan opened his personal settlement panel. The profit distribution from the Martial Path Evolutionary Path Settlement. Lin Yuan glanced at the final amount. 289,690,000,000,000 civilization coins. This much. Lin Yuan was a bit surprised. The unit was in billions, 280,000 billion, nearly 300 trillion in enormous wealth. Mainly because the 6th-ranked chapter has made another strong push. Lin Yuan looked over the sales numbers of each ranked chapter. He noticed that the 6th-ranked chapter had been purchased over 1,000 times. You have to know, the price Lin Yuan set for the 6th-ranked chapter was 50 billion. A 50 billion price 6th-ranked chapter, purchased over 1,000 times, amounted to 50 trillion. After adding Lin Yuan's 30/70th split with human civilization and subtracting taxes, the final take-home was close to 200 trillion. The 6th-ranked chapter was bought over 1,000 times, mostly out of curiosity. As for those who are actually cultivating to the pinnacle of the 5th rank and planning to buy the 6th-ranked chapter, there are none. Lin Yuan was well aware of how the 1,000-plus purchases came about. The Martial Dao Cultivation Evolution Paths ranking on the Qikuan Evolution Rankings had soared, thought to be the work of a certain evolutionary scholar. Naturally, it aroused the curiosity of many high-rank evolvers. Therefore, every time Lin Yuan updated the latest chapter of the Martial Path Evolutionary Path, there would be a bunch of evolvers who would directly purchase it to take a look. Their reasons for purchasing were likely not for cultivation but out of pure curiosity, wanting to see why the Martial Path Evolutionary Path had such potential. It's still too early. If 100 or 200 years go by, and within the martial arts evolutionaries, 4th and 5th ranks emerge, that will be the time when the 6th rank chapter will be in its prime. Lin Yuan thought to himself. A moment of curiosity cannot generate a continuous stream of income. But the wider the spread of the Martial Path Evolutionary Path, the more evolving cultivators there are who practice it, the more it becomes a true mountain of gold. 30 trillion. And that's just the income from one settlement. Lin Yuan glanced at his account balance and felt pleased. Although with his strength and status, 30 trillion wasn't much, for Lin Yuan, it was tantamount to a gift. I still need to push it a bit. After some thought, Lin Yuan made up his mind. The evolution of martial arts cultivators is too slow nowadays, with most lacking guidance and thus prone to taking the wrong path. Just so happens I've got some free time, I'll make a few martial Tao analysis videos. With a thought, Lin Yuan's personal space began to change. His appearance, body shape, and demeanor also began to transform accordingly. In the end, an image of a slim man appeared. This should be good. Lin Yuan touched his chin. He began explaining from the first-tier chapter of the Martial Path Evolutionary Path. The first-tier chapter is the beginning of the Martial Path Evolutionary Path, divided into the innate realm, Grandmaster realm, and so on. Among the current martial arts evolutionaries, most are at the first-tier chapter. As for innate, Lin Yuan used only a few thousand words to introduce the innate chapter, then took just over 10 minutes to elaborate in detail. Time went by. In just under half a day, Lin Yuan successfully recorded more than 10 videos, including parts of the first-tier chapter, second-layer chapter, and third-rank chapter. This should be enough. Lin Yuan nodded slightly. Reviewing the first-tier chapter, the second-layer chapter, and the third-rank chapter was also quite helpful for Lin Yuan himself. Upload them to the virtual world. Lin Yuan entered the Martial Path founder, Yuan's account, and uploaded the newly recorded set of analysis videos. So many followers already? Lin Yuan glanced at the number of followers Yuan had, which exceeded 100 billion. You should know, these 100 billion followers are not ordinary citizens. Those who can enter the virtual world and watch Yuan are either evolutionaries or high-grade citizens. 100 billion followers isn't much less than some celebrity evolutionaries in the Qikuan star domain. Completed. Just moments after Lin Yuan clicked upload, more than a dozen analysis videos appeared under Yuan's account. I hope you guys won't disappoint me. The more martial path evolutionaries there are, especially the higher-ranked ones, the deeper Lin Yuan's foundational accumulation in certain aspects becomes. In the future, ultimate leap, everything will be transformed into an overwhelming advantage. After uploading the videos, Lin Yuan didn't pay them further attention. Instead, he contemplated the remaining space models. At the entry stage of space rules, out of 965 space models, Lin Yuan had grasped 4/5 of them. The remaining dozens, demonstrated personally by the Qikuan Star Lord, already somewhat understood by Lin Yuan with his Against Heaven's understanding, it's only a matter of time before he completely grasps them. Grasping all 965 kinds of space models, entry into space rules should pave the way to ideally create the 7th rank chapter. Lin Yuan thought to himself, with just an entry-level understanding of space, mixed with the Taiji Dao, to shape the martial path evolutionary path. Lin Yuan felt that once stepping into the ideal state of the 7th rank, his strength would soar. Xian Huang Evolutionary Path. When Lin Yuan tired of contemplating space rules, he began to contemplate other evolutionary paths, especially the space-related evolution paths, which are like certain imprints of the essence of space rules. Understanding space-related evolution paths sometimes is no less profound than contemplating space models directly. In addition, whenever Lin Yuan had spare time, he would contemplate the Tao of Taiyang and Taiyin and the fire system rule crystal given to him by the Qikuan Star Lord. Lin Yuan had not yet fully grasped it. Each observation brought a different feeling. Time passed by. 2 days went by in the blink of an eye. While Lin Yuan was still engrossed in his cultivation and Tao enlightenment, a ripple that only Lin Yuan could perceive slowly spread out from the depths of his bloodline. Is my second physical body divine ability about to take shape? Lin Yuan immediately stopped his practice and focused on the changes in his body. My second physical body, divine ability. With the experience from the first time his physical body divine ability took shape, Lin Yuan was quite adept, carefully experiencing the odd power from the depths of his bloodline. All credit goes to the original author. Enjoyed this story? Subscribe for daily uploads and more amazing content. Have a novel you want us to cover? Leave your requests in the comments. If you're the author and wish for this video to be removed or modified, please contact us at fableversodio@gmail.com. Comprehension Ability. Creating and teaching the Tao in various worlds. Chapter 5. Choice. Battlefield C24763. Please subscribe. Time flowed slowly. The strange power deep within Lin Yuan's bloodline became increasingly apparent. Could this awakened physical body divine ability be geared towards combat and fighting? Physical body divine abilities also come in different types. Some are adept at defense, some at preserving life, and some at attacking. It all depends on which strange power deep in the bloodline is activated. Just as Lin Yuan was feeling it attentively, a complete strange power peeled off from deep within his blood vessels. Immediately afterward, information about this strange power flooded into Lin Yuan's mind. Physical body divine ability, mountain moving? Lin Yuan naturally understood everything about this mountain moving divine ability. The divine ability, mountain moving, does not literally mean moving mountains. It's more of a symbol or description. I didn't expect the awakened physical body divine ability to be tied to the rule of power, Lin Yuan thought to himself. The mountain-moving divine ability is a pure, power divine skill, related to the rule of power. Compared to other cosmic rules, the rule of power is undoubtedly the most common. After all, as long as there are beings, they possess power. Therefore, it's not difficult to get started on the rule of power. In the last 7-star cave trial, there was a red pattern named Brutal Force who had entered the rule of power at 4th rank. Of course, not difficult here is relative to those true genius evolvers. For the average evolver, to perceive the rule of power to the threshold of entry, they would need at least to be at 5th rank or even 6th rank. Otherwise, Brutal Force would not have been designated by the Chikuan Star Lord as a red pattern examiner. The rule of power, easy to start with a high ceiling if one comprehends deep into the rule of power. Every move can shatter everything with power, a very pure path. Lin Yuan mused. The 9 evolution towers of the cosmic alliance of human civilizations symbolize the indisputable peak of the evolution field. One of those towers is the Tower of Power, and the supreme being residing in that evolution tower follows the path of the rule of power. Lin Yuan sensed the strange power related to the mountain-moving, power divine skill-forming secret patterns within his flesh, resembling a magic web. These secret patterns subtly resonated with the external rule of power. Lin Yuan felt that with any casual strike, he could carry a trace of the rule of power, and his attacks would become several to 10 times more powerful in terms of force. Lin Yuan carefully observed the secret patterns within his flesh. Your Against Heaven's understanding allows you to observe the essential secret patterns of the rule of power, deepening your understanding of the rule of power. Your Against Heaven's understanding allows you to observe the essential secret patterns of the rule of power, deepening your understanding of the rule of power. Your Against Heaven's understanding allows you to observe the essential secret patterns of the rule of power, deepening your understanding of the rule of power. Only a short while had passed. Lin Yuan came to his senses. Have I actually made an entry into the rule of power? Lin Yuan was startled. Previously, he had not delved into the rule of power. Even with his Against Heaven's understanding, how vast are the great ways of the world. One would certainly focus most of their energy on the laws and great ways they wish to comprehend, such as Taiyin Taiyang Taiji or space, etc. The Tao of Taiji governs thousands of other Taos with one, but here, it does not mean fully comprehending them all. Rather, it uses the Tao of Taiji to command the other thousands of Taos. It is like using a knife. You can wield it, but you have no understanding of the knife's construction and essence. As for the rule of power, even though entering it is not difficult, according to Lin Yuan's estimates, if he were to fully focus on this path, it would still take him more than 10 days. Now it took just a short while? Is it because of these secret patterns? These secret patterns are the essence of the power divine skill, mountain moving. By comprehending these secret patterns, am I comprehending a deeper layer of the rule of power? Lin Yuan appeared thoughtful. I didn't expect this physical body divine ability to have such a use. Lin Yuan said with a smile on his face. The divine skill, mountain moving, could already enhance Lin Yuan's frontal combat ability, and now it could also make understanding the rule of power easier for him. It's just the blood rebirth. Lin Yuan carefully felt the blood rebirth technique imprint. In the immortal Tao world, Lin Yuan, with his against heaven's understanding, fully comprehended the blood rebirth, without feeling that this divine skill resonated with any particular rule. Perhaps divine skills vary from one another. Lin Yuan did not linger on this. Blood rebirth or mountain moving, they were all freely given methods. In the Qikuan Star Realm virtual world, in the Central Plaza area, the martial path evolutionary path does not require pre-existing conditions, like an innately powerful physique, innately robust spirit, or a special constitution, etc. Anyone can practice it, but whether one can enter or step into the innate realm depends on the individual. A burly man looked towards the towering evolution leaderboard in the distance and said in a low voice to several young evolvers beside him, "Martial arts evolutionaries at least offer a chance for people to try, while other evolution paths might outright dismiss you if you don't meet certain conditions. If you don't have the prerequisite, you won't even be able to step through the door. Mr. Chen, I'm trying to break through to the innate chapter, but what exactly is innate chi mentioned in there?" A young man couldn't help but ask. The first tier chapter of the martial path evolutionary path begins with the innate realm. As for the acquired realm, it is a pre-entry level state. Martial arts evolutionaries who enter this realm are equivalent to other pre-entry evolvers. Innate chi. The burly man fell silent for a moment. He wasn't an evolver on the martial path evolutionary path. How would he know what innate chi was? All credit goes to the original author. Enjoyed the story? Subscribe for daily uploads and more amazing content. Have a novel you want us to cover? Leave your requests in the comments. If you are the author and wish for this video to be removed or modified, please contact us at fableversodio@gmail.com. Comprehension Ability. Creating and teaching the Tao in various worlds. Chapter 5. Choice. Battlefield C24763. Please subscribe. _2. In this aspect, it mainly depends on one's own enlightenment. The robust man thought for a moment, just about to speak. Just then, other evolvers in the Central Plaza area started to boil with excitement and noise. What's going on? The robust man quickly learned from the evolvers nearby that the mysterious founder of the Martial Path Evolutionary Path had actually uploaded a training lecture video on the Martial Path Evolutionary Path.
À lecture vidéo.
The robust man's spirit was lifted. Given the popularity of the Martial Path Evolutionary Path, naturally, there were many videos related to this evolutionary path. This included personal experience videos from many evolvers who had cultivated to the second rank and third rank of martial Tao. However, many of these second rank and third rank martial Tao evolvers' training experience videos were inaccurate or even wrong. Quick, get into the account of the founder of Martial Path Evolutionary Path. The robust man immediately ordered several youths beside him. They were all evolvers practicing the martial path evolutionary path, just one step away from advancing. Okay. The youths were also full of excitement, as the founder of the martial path evolutionary path was universally recognized as a great evolutionary scholar. Watching a training analysis video uploaded by such a person would be beneficial even for those not practicing martial path evolutionary path. What about them? I'll take a look too. The robust man also opened the video and watched attentively. A moment later, the virtual world boiled again. So that's how it is. To step into the second rank of martial Tao, one needs not only to master a certain power, but also to achieve perfect control over oneself. As expected of a great evolutionary scholar, each video is only 20 to 30 minutes long, but every sentence goes straight to the point, which is much better than those streamers talking about their understanding of martial Tao. How could those streamers compare with Yuan the great scholar? Countless evolvers and high-ranked citizens kept exchanging insights, and the news about the lecture videos spread rapidly. This caused more and more evolvers to join in and watch. I understand now. No. Why is there only half of the third-rank chapter? Where's the rest? So, this is the essence of martial path evolutionary path? I've decided. I'll let my son take the martial path evolutionary path. The more one is an evolver of the martial path evolutionary path, the more they realize how incredible the training analysis video uploaded by Lin Yuan is. Questions and confusions that they could not comprehend no matter how hard they thought. After watching the video, suddenly everything became clear as day. It was like a lighthouse in the dark night, leading countless evolvers toward the most correct direction. Some evolvers who had been on the wrong path immediately adjusted their training methods according to the training analysis video and eventually corrected their course. Many people were excited, and even evolvers of other evolutionary paths gained a lot of insights. Battlefield C24763 was too vast, with a diameter of 0.2 light-years, an unknown multiple of a normal planet's size. You guys? Captain Wei Qing swept a glance at the remaining members of the Black Abyss clan. Captain Wei Qing, even Ranfan died. Entering would mean certain death for us too. It's not necessary. The several Black Abyss clan powerhouses immediately grew nervous. That is true. Captain Wei Qing thought for a while. He did not really mind the life or death of the other Black Abyss members. But the prerequisite was obtaining the inheritance from inside the space gateway. Would it require reporting back to the clan? Captain Wei Qing felt somewhat unwilling in his heart. With the strength of the Yuan clan, if they dispatched a powerhouse, they would definitely be able to extract all the treasures and inheritance from inside the space gateway. But by doing that, Captain Wei Qing could only receive a small share. The lion's share would certainly fall to the clan. Just at that moment, Captain Wei Qing seemed to sense something and looked up in a certain direction. A pitch-black spaceship was flying towards them at this moment. Is it a human race evolver? Captain Wei Qing immediately made a judgment. It couldn't be helped. The Yuan clan's technology was lacking, incapable of building ships that could perform wormhole shuttles. Therefore, the Yuan clan did not rely on spaceships for travel. The human race? Captain Wei Qing, we can capture this human race and then force him into the space gateway. He is from a human race, and the one who left behind the space gateway is also from the human race. If a human enters, he probably won't encounter the kill switches. When he gets all the inheritance and treasures, we just take them from him. One of the Black Abyss clan powerhouses immediately spoke. Upon hearing this, the rest of the Black Abyss clan powerhouses immediately agreed. That way, they didn't need to venture inside themselves, nor was there any need to report back to the tribe and give away a large share. Captain Wei Qing's eyes lit up. He nodded and said, "Good idea." Then he looked up at the position of the pitch-black spaceship, a smile appearing on his face. Lucky. All credit goes to the original author. Enjoyed the story? Subscribe for daily uploads and more amazing content. Have a novel you want us to cover? Leave your requests in the comments. If you are the author and wish for this video to be removed or modified, please contact us at fableversodio@gmail.com. Comprehension Ability, Creating and Teaching the Tao in Various Worlds. Chapter 7. The Legacy of the 8th Layer Evolver. Subscription requested. The strong members of the Yuan clan within the valley were in high spirits. They had originally planned to report this spatial entrance to their clan, since even a small share was much better than nothing. But now, they had unexpectedly discovered a member of the human race actively approaching them. If they could control this human, force him into the spatial entrance, with his identity as part of the same race as the owner of the spatial entrance, they should easily be able to bring out all the treasures. At that time, they could solely enjoy the treasures stored inside this spatial entrance. Don't get too excited too soon. First, determine the strength and number of humans in this spaceship. Captain Wei Qing had not relaxed his vigilance. On the battlefields of different races, any slight oversight could cost them their lives. Compared to the human race and the insect race and other peak clans who could be resurrected, the life of their mighty clans was truly over upon death. The clans would not pay a heavy price to ask the peak clans to resurrect them. Okay. A member of the Yuan clan, with skin of a bluish hue, took out a sky-blue gemstone. Immediately, he aimed one side of the gemstone at the swiftly approaching dark, streamlined spaceship. A slight vibration spread outwards. This sky-blue gemstone, bestowed by the insect race, was used to detect the surrounding environment and gauge the levels and numbers of enemy combatants. On the battlefields of different races, it's difficult to kill alien strong ones of the same level, and similarly hard to overpower and kill those weaker than oneself. One reason is the presence of this type of detection gemstone. A 7th rank evolver trying to disguise oneself as 6th rank and then slaughter within the ranks of the weaker different species was practically impossible, because the vast majority of 7th rank evolvers could not escape the detection of this gemstone. Captain, there's only one person in the spaceship, and he has not reached the 7th rank. The blue-skin member of the He Yuan clan opened his eyes and spoke. Not having reached the 7th rank is fine. Captain Wei Qing nodded slightly. All of them were at the peak of the 6th rank, with him, Wei Qing, being at the pinnacle of that peak. Together, capturing a human race 6th rank evolver would not be difficult. Lin Yuan piloted the spaceship into the battlefields of different races, being extremely cautious, to the extent that he didn't even use wormhole shuttle. On the battlefields of different races, spatial fluctuations were significant, making precise travel through wormhole shuttle impossible. Moreover, using wormhole shuttle stirred up minor spatial fluctuations, easily drawing the attention of alien strong ones. In the battlefields of different races, if I'm lucky, I might not even encounter any different species. Lin Yuan thought to himself. The battlefields of different races were vast, spanning 0.2 light-years in diameter, a range so immense that even placing hundreds of billions of evolvers inside would be like a drop in the ocean. It's best I don't encounter any different species. I have no interest in them, Lin Yuan thought. Battling with the different species, even against the weakest among them, still carried the risk of failure. Lin Yuan's primary aim in entering the battlefields of different races was to head toward that eternal spatial rift to comprehend the space rules emanating from it, allowing him to thoroughly understand the remaining fundamental spatial models and step into the 7th stage Martial Tao realm. Lin Yuan's expression suddenly changed. Just a moment ago, he sensed a faint fluctuation sweep across the spaceship. Are there different species? Lin Yuan's expression turned serious. He was just about to slow down the spaceship, but suddenly, a terrifying wave of energy descended. The spaceship Lin Yuan was in exploded instantly. Whoosh! Lin Yuan's figure appeared, not far away. At the same time, several members of the He Yuan clan immediately surrounded him. Not bad, in terms of strength. He Yuan clan Captain Wei Qing eyed Lin Yuan. The strike just now had pierced through the spaceship, and he had thought that Lin Yuan would at least be injured. But it seemed now that his strength was even beyond their estimates. However, Captain Wei Qing was unfazed. With that probing attack, he had already confirmed that Lin Yuan was not a 7th rank evolver. Since that was the case, then it was simple. Different species? Lin Yuan looked around at the He Yuan clan's strong ones gathering. They don't want to kill me? Lin Yuan pondered thoughtfully, sensing the strength of these He Yuan clan members, knowing that if they had been serious, it definitely wouldn't have been as simple as before. Human race. If you want to live, listen to us. A member of the He Yuan clan spoke up, thinking they had the upper hand at this moment. What must I do to live? Lin Yuan's mind stirred, following the other's words. Normally, on the battlefields of different races, when the human race encountered the He Yuan clan, there would be no talking, only immediate battle. Human race, killing members of the He Yuan clan, would earn treasure and merit points rewards. The He Yuan clan killing members of the human race would likewise earn rewards from their own clan, and possibly even gifts from the insect race. So, unless there were other motives, the two great clans would definitely start fighting upon meeting. It's simple. First, stop resisting. Another member of the He Yuan clan started to approach. You have to promise you'll let me go. Lin Yuan spoke softly. Of course. A smile surfaced on the face of the approaching He Yuan clan member. The other He Yuan clan members' expressions, however, bore a hint of scorn. In this interclan war, to actually believe the promise of a different species was naive, This human race evolver was most likely a novice in war. The next moment, Lin Yuan's figure vanished from the spot. Simultaneously, for miles around, everything was engulfed by Taiyang true fire, the terrifying heat beginning to burn the air, burning everything. Not good. The expressions of the several He Yuan clan members turned to alarm. All credit goes to the original author. Enjoyed this story? Subscribe for daily uploads and more amazing content. Have a novel you want us to cover? Leave your requests in the comments. If you're the author and wish for this video to be removed or modified, please contact us at fableversodio@gmail.com. Comprehension Ability. Creating and teaching the Tao in various worlds. Chapter 7. The Legacy of the 8th Layer Evolver. Subscription requested _2. The Taiyang true fire that permeated every inch of air was terrifyingly powerful. The He Yuan clan powerhouse who had just tried to approach Lin Yuan felt as though his flesh and blood were starting to burn.
Boom.
Just as this He Yuan clan powerhouse thought about retreating explosively, a right hand, formed of Taiyang true fire, pierced through him. The terrifying power of the true fire exploded, burning the He Yuan clan powerhouse to nothingness. The Taiyang true fire converged. It reformed into the figure of Lin Yuan. Quick, leave. This human race evolver must be a top genius of the Human Civilization Alliance, not someone that ordinary 6th rank extremes can compare with. Damn it, with his strength, if he had just revealed a little earlier, we wouldn't have dared to take the initiative. He did it on purpose, deliberately attracting us to surround him. The remaining members of the He Yuan clan had ugly expressions on their faces as soon as Lin Yuan unleashed the Taiyang true fire domain and covered tens of thousands of miles. They realized something was wrong. It wasn't something unusual for a 6th rank evolver to master domain power, but a domain completely filled with Taiyang true fire exerted an inconceivable suppressive force on them. Rumble. Several He Yuan clan powerhouses tried to move backward, to break free from the suppression of the Taiyang domain, but it was evidently too late. Lin Yuan's figure disappeared again. He became the omnipresent power of Taiyang. In an instant, he condensed in front of a He Yuan clan powerhouse. Captain, save me. This He Yuan clan powerhouse only lasted a moment. Then, he too was burned to nothingness by the Taiyang true fire. Subsequently, the last He Yuan clan powerhouse showed an unwilling expression, and immediately his physical soul began to burn. As a being from the cosmic secret realm Black Abyss, he had to endure countless competitions since childhood. Barely making it out of the Black Abyss, he thought he would shine on the battlefields of different races, break through to the 7th rank, and then return to rule a part of the Black Abyss. But now all was impossible. After effortlessly killing this He Yuan clan powerhouse, Lin Yuan's gaze turned to the last He Yuan clan powerhouse. Judging from the expressions of those He Yuan clan powerhouses just now, this one must be some sort of captain or leader. When Lin Yuan was slaughtering the previous He Yuan clan powerhouses, this He Yuan clan powerhouse didn't show any intention of coming to their aid. Instead, he watched coldly as his own clansmen died. Impressive. Captain Wei Qing looked at Lin Yuan. Even though he was in the Taiyang true fire domain, he showed no fear. The Taiyang true fire, capable of burning a 6th rank peak powerhouse to nothing, rapidly dissipated when it approached within a few feet of him. He didn't save the other He Yuan clan powerhouses just now because he wanted his clansmen to test Lin Yuan's strength. Competition within the He Yuan clan was brutal, especially after they encountered the vast cosmic environment. Every member of the He Yuan clan had fought their way out from among countless others of their kind. But now, it's time for you to die. The expression on Captain Wei Qing's face revealed his cruelty. The He Yuan clan had joined the Insect Race Alliance, so as long as one met the conditions, they could directly receive a gift from the insect race. Among these was the killing of top genius evolvers of the Human Civilization Alliance. A top 6th rank evolver from the human civilization is even more valuable than an ordinary 7th rank evolver. Condense. Captain Wei Qing believed that he had figured out Lin Yuan. The other party's reliance was on nothing more than the Taiyang true fire domain and the ability to turn his physical body into Taiyang true fire. A wave of fluctuations began to spread out from Captain Wei Qing as the center, diffusing in all directions. Wherever the wave passed, the Taiyang true fire domain began to collapse, and a more potent domain power started to forcefully drive out and suppress the Taiyang true fire domain. Interesting. Lin Yuan's figure disappeared once again. Useless. My clan's Black Abyss domain can isolate everything. You can't get in. Captain Wei Qing was about to speak. The next moment, traces of spatial fluctuations emerged. Lin Yuan, as if teleporting, appeared directly in front of Captain Wei Qing.
What?
Captain Wei Qing's eyes widened as the space rules controlled by Lin Yuan and his manipulation of power had completely surpassed the limits of a 6th rank evolver and reached the 7th rank realm. In simple terms, although Lin Yuan was still exercising the power of a 6th rank evolver, his understanding of the essence of power was no different from that of a 7th rank, and a casual strike could crush any 6th rank.
Key.
Captain Wei Qing's consciousness began to blur, and at this moment, a sense of frustration suddenly surged in his heart. As a mighty 7th rank powerhouse, disguising yourself as a 6th rank, isn't that bullying? Worrying. Captain Wei Qing's physical soul was burned to nothingness, transforming into strands of the purest essential power, which then flowed into Lin Yuan's body. Storage ring. Lin Yuan stretched out his right hand, and Captain Wei Qing's storage ring fell into his palm. When he had killed the other Heiyuan clan powerhouses just now, Lin Yuan had also conveniently collected their storage rings. As for the physical soul, it was all incinerated by the Taiyang true fire into the purest power and then became nourishment for the Taiyang divine spirit. No other members of the Heiyuan clan? Lin Yuan closed his eyes slightly. His perception began to spread and permeate, and only after confirming that there were no other life forms within hundreds of thousands of miles did he let out a slight sigh of relief. Everything was recorded just now, right? Lin Yuan communicated with his intelligent assistant in his mind. Human race evolvers in the battlefields of different races would receive corresponding rewards for killing members of different species. But how to prove that it was you who killed the different species? That would be through the recording software installed by the 3 goddesses. Just record the battle and killing process, and later, when reaching the gathering place for the human race on the battlefield, upload the video to the 3 goddesses. After their review, the number of merit points will be finalized. That's right. Many factors, such as spatial fluctuations, affect the battlefields of different races. There are many places where one cannot connect to the 3 goddesses. Only after leaving the battlefield or being in a gathering place of the human race on the battlefield can one reconnect with the goddesses. It's just that, for what reason did these members of the Heiyuan clan not make a move against me? Lin Yuan landed on the ground, frowning in thought. The Heiyuan clan members hadn't immediately gone for the kill because they wanted Lin Yuan to do something for them. And that something was something the Heiyuan clan could not do, only Lin Yuan could. A thought flickered in Lin Yuan's mind. He began to search carefully in all directions. Half a day later, Lin Yuan arrived in a valley. Just an entrance to a certain space? Lin Yuan observed carefully. Considering the use of space rules, it should come from an evolver of the human race. So that's how it is. Lin Yuan's expression suddenly became clear. Before heading to the battlefields of different races, Lin Yuan naturally wouldn't go unprepared, with an understanding of the many opportunities on the battlefield. One type of opportunity included treasures left behind by previous experts. In the battlefields of different races, it's impossible to stay connected with the 3 goddesses in real time. Thus, some powerful evolvers, too severely injured to heal, would often leave their treasures somewhere before their death. To ensure that their inheritances would not fall into the hands of different species, they usually left tricks that would only be accessible to the human race, preventing targeting by others. Judging by the spatial fluctuations, this space entrance has existed for at least hundreds of thousands of years. The fact that it has not collapsed over such a long period and the internal space still exists suggests that its owner's realm was probably 8th layer. Lin Yuan speculated. An inheritance left by an 8th rank evolver? Lin Yuan immediately felt anticipation, observing the space entrance. It seemed that the treasures inside were still intact. Otherwise, if the treasures had been taken away, the many arrangements would likely have been cleaned up, and this space entrance probably would have collapsed long ago. Space entrance. Lin Yuan's thoughts churned. The space entrance led to a small space, which was carved out by a certain evolver. Once reaching the 7th rank evolver level, one begins to comprehend the space rules and utilize the power of space, capable of creating a small space. In the immortal Tao world, the Dao Immortal Sect's heavenly ranked technique, Qiankuan in the sleeve, is a similar application, but the space created within the sleeve can only be maintained for a short period. For 7th and 8th rank evolvers, the small spaces they create last much longer, and even if the owner dies, they won't collapse immediately. Let's go in and have a look. Lin Yuan pondered for a moment, and since this was just one of his young spirits, even if something went wrong, his true self could quickly reform it. It wasn't a risk at all. Besides, since this space entrance was left by a member of the human race, Lin Yuan just needed to reveal his human race identity to face even fewer problems. What is this? Lin Yuan stepped forward, entering the space entrance. Looking ahead, his expression changed slightly. All credit goes to the original author. Enjoyed this story? Subscribe for daily uploads and more amazing content. Have a novel you want us to cover? Leave your requests in the comments. If you're the author and wish for this video to be removed or modified, please contact us at fableversodio@gmail.com. If you enjoyed this journey through the Fableverse, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss the next chapter. Want to support the storytellers behind the scenes? Check the description for donation links, author credits, and more. Until next time, stay curious and keep listening.